What's up, y'all? Charlie here, and I want to take a second and tell you guys about campaign pilots. Let's say you ship something out with Bolt, Cursor, maybe it's on Vercel, whatever it is. It's deployed, it's out, you're getting some website traffic. All right, how do you get more people to your website, right? How does this, marketing and distribution is the hardest part, which leads into customer acquisition. So in comes campaign pilots. So let's say you've got Google Analytics, you've got Search Console, you've got Tag Manager, everything's wired up. Okay, now you're looking at the data on GA4. You go to acquisition, then you go to traffic acquisition, and you're looking at sessions. All right, cool. You're looking at the KPIs. Sessions, engagement rate, blah, blah, blah. It is so boring to talk about. Now, campaign pilots make sense of all of that data. So it connects to your GA4, connects to your Search Console, it connects to Google Ads, and it makes sense of the data for you. So rather than having to log into GA4 and Search Console or Google Ads, you log into campaign pilots, you connect the data sources, it takes less than 5 minutes, it's a couple clicks, and you simply ask it, what were my top 5 non-branded keywords? And then bam, you get a bunch of answers, and then you get next steps to get more customers to your app. That's what campaign pilots does. Another example. You've got Google Analytics. You have that connected in the app, Campaign Pilots. And then you can ask it, give me a summary of SEO in the past 30 days compared to the previous 30 days. And it will tell you the delta. It will tell you the pages, the highest performing pages, the lowest performing pages. And it basically gives you a roadmap for the subsequent 30 days to get more people, more users, more signups to your app. Head over to www.campaignpilots.ai. Try it for free.
Fundraising is a full-time job. Like it really truly is, which means it's going to take time away from other things. Sometimes founders get so desperate, they're like, I'll just take cash or checks from anyone, when it's like, actually, like it's really difficult to get someone off of your cap table. Getting to know what they invest in, what they're curious about, what they're interested in. What are your sort of weaknesses or blind spots as a founder, and how can your investors potentially fill in those gaps? Not just about the check, but what can they really provide your company and your business?
All right, everybody, we are back. Episode 33 of the Builders Growth Lab podcast. All three of us are back. I am here. Mallory's still alive. She's still an asshole.
He's
Connor's
alive.
Here, and he's still a gambling degenerate. So all is well in the world.
It was really bad. It
You
was
know
really
what?
bad last
What about
week.
you, Charlie? What about you?
Yeah,
I'm just here.
where are your flaws, Charlie?
Yeah.
Where are your flaws?
This is the new year. You got to be able to share both your strengths and
yeah.
weaknesses, Charlie.
We know you're an SEO god, so I mean, obviously
yes,
it's not
that's
there.
not from
when
me.
it's SEO,
That was a
but-
nice tire pump from Mallory. Yeah, that's true.
I almost take that back. But sorry.
It's been recorded, so it's out in the universe already.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. Yeah, 26. Like, goodness gracious. Wow.
Did anyone else get? I know we were slacking about it a little bit. I got so caught up in the 2-week period between like Christmas and New Year's, where every day, I didn't think it would be. I was kind of dreading it, and then once I was in it, and I realized I didn't open my laptop or go on my computer like 3 days in a row, I was like, oh my god, I love this. It was great. I didn't know what day it was.
Awesome.
I didn't know what time it was.
Fucking
I didn't know what I
awesome.
was doing
I love
next. It was just complete. I don't know, just nothingness, and I was all for it, all about it. But happy to also be back now. Happy to kind of get some organization back in my life.
I kind of like that structure of, up at like 5:30, 6 a.m., go to the gym,
You wake up at 5:30?
That's insane.
Yeah, like around there, 5 to 6, and then just
Damn.
so like I
and
have
then
a
you go
hard
to bed
time.
late, right? Like,
Yeah,
don't you go to
I'm
bed
kind of
late?
a jittery person. Just maybe it's anxiety. I know. I can't really sit still, so I have to get up, and then first thing I'll just go to the gym and just hop on the bike and just pedal, just go ham,
Damn.
get a good
Good for
sweat,
you.
and then go sit in the steam.
I wake up at 5:30, and I do like the thing I felt like I did when I was a kid who was like almost ready to go to school, but had like an extra 30 minutes, except I have like an extra 2 hours when it's 5:30 because I don't get up to like 7:38. So it's like, I love the clock at that time.
I get up
great,
before you.
snuggle back
Scar's
up.
behind you. Yeah.
That's wild.
I
Oh.
mean, it's just
I
a
get up
habit.
at like 7 a.m. like a normal person. So
Who
Anyway,
said 7 a.m. is normal?
I think it's normal, right? Like, don't you think it's normal? Like, especially if you're a
no.
parent, you're probably getting up earlier,
Oh, if you're a
actually.
parent,
You're
forget it.
not, sorry, you're not
Oh
even
yeah.
getting up at 7 a.m. That's
I'm not
like,
even gonna
like
say
it,
what time I usually sleep until for real, then. I don't want to make
yeah.
anyone
Do you
upset.
sleep in on the weekends?
So the thing is, I can't sleep in. Like I can't sleep past, I'd say like 9 o'clock, but
Yeah,
I
me
will
too.
regularly sleep until 9 o'clock. Like even during the week, like today, I went to the gym, like I was productive and everything, but I woke up, I think I got out of bed at like 8:15, walked my dog, took
Oh
my time,
man.
went to the gym at
Wow.
9 o'clock, got back at like 10. It's like so I slow roll my mornings, but I'm also a
Wow.
maniac at like night. Like I'm the guy
Okay.
who's sending emails at like 7:30 p.m. and it's like, bro, what are you
Mm,
doing? Like
yeah.
go eat dinner
Yeah.
and
I'm
spend
good
time
on
with your
that.
family. I'm like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have kids or
But
anything like that yet,
that's
but
that's how you prefer to have your schedule. Like if that's
100%.
and I feel like, I'm very big now that I've been working in the working world for however long now. I'm like, I'd like to shape my day, my work day around how I want to structure my day. And when I'm like at my sort of like in the mornings, like mornings are a great time for me to like have meetings or brainstorm or blah 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 blah, right? Like for some people they're like, no, I need to brainstorm at like 7 p.m. because my
Yeah,
brain just like doesn't work like that. So if you're in a place where you could do this, it's like try scheduling your work around like the peak times of the day that you feel like you're most productive or most
absolutely.
creative,
Good
right?
point.
And so maybe for you, it's like, yeah, I have these things in the morning, but like I'm sending emails at 7 p.m. because that's the time where my brain like wants to do that.
I
So
think it's
Mm.
that, and it's like I've said this a few times to you guys. I'm so big on like not having meetings like disrupt my workflow. So it's like once like 4 p.m. hits, like meetings are kind of done for the day. And it's like I have from 4 till 7, sometimes 8 to just like crush work 3, 4 hours in a row, no meetings, no interruptions. And it's like it's great. And again, it kind of gives me the availability to get up late in the morning, kind of slow roll into the day. And yeah, you're
yep.
exactly right,
Mm.
Mallory. It's just that's just what I see work best for me. But
I
Yeah.
everyone's
am
different.
I'm complete opposite. I get all the creative stuff done in the morning, meetings done, and then just afternoon. If I have to take a nap, I will. I'm trying not to take day naps because that
Little
Well,
yeah.
nappy
naps are
poo.
good for you,
I know,
Charlie.
but like they
I mean, especially for
so
wake up at 5:30 and then going to bed late, you have to probably take a nap. Like your
what
body just
Yeah.
like needs that little 20-minute sleep,
what I was told is I had a sleeping coach last year. I was
What?
told that
Oh,
naps
interesting.
can like ruin your like day cycle.
Okay, never
So
mind. Sorry, I
if
did not know
Take
that.
it back. Take it back now.
yeah, so if you're gonna take them early, like lunchtime, like noon, 1 p.m. But other than that, they can just kind of disrupt. But they're like I wake up so much, just feeling so much, just like so fresh. Like in Mario, like in Super Mario, and he gets the mushroom and he's like yeah, he's taller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that when I wake up, like feel fucking great. So
There is
um,
something to waking up early though too. Someone just suggested a book before we get off the sleep topic. I forgot what it was called. It was
what's
like something 5 a.m. and
oh
it's
Hmm.
like let me I actually just ordered it off Amazon yesterday because I had a client mention it to me. Let me see
I
here.
love talking about sleep. I love talking about sleep. I don't know
Let's
why.
see.
Maybe it's because we like desperately need it to live
yeah.
a healthy life.
Yeah,
So,
is there
but
any founder that has great, oh, pardon me,
uh,
any
uh,
first-time founder the first 3 years that actually sleeps great?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I
I don't think founders or
doubt it.
entrepreneurs just by
No.
trade like sleep great. I think it's like a brain constantly moving, always
Yeah,
Yeah.
thinking. Like
Yeah.
I go to sleep thinking about like work stuff nine
yeah,
times out
me
of
too.
10. It's
Yeah.
like, what am I
Yeah,
going to do the next day? What do I have left? Like, what
yeah.
can I do? Like things I can like ideate on. It's called the
Yeah.
5 a.m. club. Own your morning,
Ooh,
elevate your life.
Yeah,
okay.
it's interesting that you say this too, because I was recently talking to a founder who we will be interviewing on the podcast soon, which is really exciting. And she has like an amazing background of working at all of these big companies, managing 1,000+ person teams, like is a
Wow.
startup founder herself. She's deeply in touch with her health. She's deeply in touch with like the things that she needs to be healthy. And even then, she's starting a company and she's like, my aura ring has been telling me for like the last 2 weeks that like I haven't been sleeping and I haven't done, and she knows she needs these things. She knows they're important, but she's an early stage founder. And to some extent, it's like almost inevitable. And so we were talking about like, how do you like, there's no such thing as balance. So like, I don't like to use that word, but like, how do you create some amount of harmony so that you can at least not be a zombie?
Mm.
Right. So like perhaps you're not going to be at your like total best because you just don't have those hours in a day to sleep 8 hours or whatever it is that you need. But like, how can you create some amount of harmony so that you're not dead to the world, right? Or that you're just like not completely unhealthy, and because that's not great either if you're like swinging on the other side of that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what does that look like for everyone? And every founder is different, but I love this topic a lot. So. I hope you guys I hope you guys are sleeping out there. This is your sign. If you're
Rest up.
rest up.
We have had the CEO of Sleep.ai on here. And
oh
he was
yes,
he was awesome.
He was great. He was
he was awesome.
I would love to have a beer with that dude. He was a marketing manager for Guinness.
Maybe we should bring him back.
Yeah,
Maybe
we should.
We should bring him back.
Yeah, he's at CES right now. I would love to have a beer with that guy.
I feel like to do. I know this sounds crazy, but to like do a whole episode on how founders like should treat their bodies and their mental health, and because it's going to be different from your everyday person, and like
that's a good idea, yeah.
How do you, and like sleep is a part of that, right? But like it'd be really interesting to kind of talk about that. Yeah.
Awesome dude. Yeah, shout out Colin. He's a badass. He listens. He's cool. So all that said, Mallory, you've kind of been well,
I know I've been MIA, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I feel like I've been out the last few weeks. I mean, first of all, life's been good. I had to skip a few episodes. One, because I got extremely ill with the norovirus. Literally shitting and puking my brains out. I'm sorry if that's giving you a disgusting visual. I'm not trying to, but it was gnarly. Like I think I told the guys this. Like if you watch Stranger Things, you'll understand this reference. But I told everyone it was like Vecna took over my body. Like I just So it was absolutely
Charlie is so lost right now. He's like, I don't get
what?
this.
Okay,
what?
it's
Who
fine.
is Vecna?
Vecna's like this super evil, like basically like Satan. Okay, like that's basically what this creature thing is in this show. Super evil. But I just felt like I was possessed. Like my body was not okay. But then it took me about a week to recover, which usually with the stomach flu, it takes like 2 days. Like it just runs through you and then you kind of bounce back. But with the norovirus, it actually takes quite a bit for your stomach and everything to get back to a normal place. So I wasn't better until after Christmas. And then from there, I was in LA. My father-in-law lives there. So I spent some time there. I sang karaoke for 3 hours.
What? 3 hours?
In LA?
Hey, when you're with a bunch of Filipinos, they like to dance, they like to sing, and at the house,
true.
We're just in our pajamas on Christmas. We're just singing.
My best friend, he actually just got engaged, and his fiance is Filipino, and every holiday, everything, it's always pictures of them just like in pajamas, just like singing, dancing, and they stay up until like 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes.
Really?
And it's like they're not hanging out, they're not drinking, they're not doing anything, not smoking, like they're just hanging out, having a great time. Like I'm just like, wow, I wish and they're not good too.
Like that. Like you're either like, so I'm definitely a good singer, but and your family probably is, but then like my father-in-law sucks. Like he's not good, but he knows that he's not good. In fact, that he's like the person that will be like, I will be the person to like start singing because I'm so bad and it makes everyone laugh so hard that it like breaks the ice.
Yeah.
So it's good. We had some folks that were not good to folks that were, and that's like how it's supposed to be fun. I don't care. It's just supposed to be fun.
What songs did you do? First 3.
I sang some opera, believe it or not. I sang "Oh Holy Night" because it's Christmas, so I was like singing all the like
get really festive with it.
Classic Christmas songs. I sang "Love Is a Battlefield." I sang "Edge of 17."
Ooh, that's a good one.
I sang "Dream On" by Aerosmith.
Whoa.
That's a fun one for me to sing.
That's a really good one.
Sang some Adele. Sang some. Literally, it was 3 hours long. I was like, okay, I have to stop.
Your set was 3 hours. That's by the way, I think
Dream On
set. He goes into set. Your set was 3 hours.
By the way, Dream On is like one of the best. Is like I'd say top 5 rock song like ever recorded. That song is incredible.
Yeah. And then I was off to Cancun for a week. I was spending
what? You went to Cancun?
I'll send you some photos, but my parents were celebrating their 35th wedding anniversary, and so I convinced them.
Congrats to them.
Yes, congrats to them. And I convinced them at the end of last year that I was like, my husband and I were on vacation. I saw this wonderful family. They were celebrating their parents' anniversary. And I called my parents. I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be great if like we all went on vacation for your wedding anniversary? My dad's like, yeah, that'd be great. I'm like, but you're gonna have to pay for the whole thing. So for all the girls and their significant others. So it's a group of like 13 people. So like 2 kids, all of the girls. I have 3 sisters. They all have partners, my parents, my aunt. So like we all went together to be in Cancun for a
Wow,
week.
cool.
Was on a boat, was tanning, was
I'm on a
resting,
boat,
was
mother.
swimming, was finding shells, was,
Yeah.
just like chilling for a week. And I really shut off. Like I was not answering emails, like I was gone to the world, like just resting. And I feel like and just getting ready for this year because I feel like it's going to be a really big year for myself and this podcast. So yeah, that's why I'm very big on being like, if I can shut off, right? If I can, obviously not everyone can for the holidays, then I'm going to take advantage
Yeah.
of it. And so I can dive into the new year. But, yeah, there's a lot more to say, but like, we don't need to record a whole podcast episode about my break, but, yeah, it feels good to be back. Feels
All
good to be
right.
We're
back.
Yeah.
happy to have you back,
Good to have
Mallory.
you
We
back.
missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thank you. I was like, I felt bad for skipping the other one. And now that I'm back, I'm ready to jump in. And I agree with what Connor was saying earlier. Like, it really does feel like it's not the abyss, but like I'm trying to find a word of what the break feels like when there's no time or like no
Like
sense of
purgatory.
time. It's weird, but I definitely also have the same feeling because I was driving back from LA yesterday. I just came back from Cancun Sunday, and then I drove 5 hours back from LA to San Francisco yesterday.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've only been here for like 24 hours, but
Whew.
my husband and I were just like, we're not prepared for the work week. We haven't even thought about it. I haven't opened my emails. Like I'm scared too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that
Yes.
feeling of like, fuck, I gotta dive into the week, but like I am not prepared at all. Like that's the feeling we were having yesterday for both of us. So yeah.
Whew. Okay. All right.
But
Hell yeah.
okay, how about you guys?
Great to good to have you
Connor?
back. Connor, yeah. What's life
Let's
been
see
the past week?
what's new in my world. I mean, again, it was kind of just like the abyss. I mean, what happened last time we spoke, Charlie? What that was last Tuesday. You and I were on.
Yeah.
I don't think you're on. Oh yeah, you were because
We did. So we did the episode right before
kinda-
the New Year. Yeah.
kinda like
Okay.
a year in
So
review, yeah.
New Year's. Yeah. Let's talk about New Year's. New Year's Eve was great. I think I kind of already told you though. It's like my wife and I, we go to the same restaurant every year. She's vegan, so I'm fine to accommodate that. It doesn't bother me too much. But there's this restaurant, Soda Club. They do like homemade fresh pasta, like
Ooh.
pizza.
Yes.
Like it's just amazing, amazing Italian food. We've done it the past 2 years. This would be our third year going. They always have like a New Year's Eve like price fix like meal. So it's like 5 courses. So we end up going out having dinner, and then we end up staying out around the Lower East Side of Manhattan, which is kind of like a fun, lively area. We were there probably until like 1, and then it was like, okay, let's go home. We saw the ball drop, did the whole shebang, boom, boom.
Mhm.
And then I literally just took advantage of like Friday, Saturday, Sunday to just take in the rest of the time I knew I was going to have off, check some emails off. So I didn't come back to 200 in my inbox, but it was honestly, it was low key, super relaxed, didn't do much of anything. Got back to the gym. That's one thing I didn't do during break. I was like, I'm eating a bunch of cookies and candy and stuff that's not good for you.
Yeah.
I don't think going to the gym for 30 minutes today is going to make a big difference. So now since what is it? I started going back it was Saturday or Sunday. It was definitely Sunday. I haven't been there 4 days in a row, but it'll be 3 days in a row back to the gym. I'm definitely in the mentality of like new year, fit me, gonna do all the good things. Like I'm eating really, really well right now. I'm going to the
Yeah.
gym,
Okay.
staying like probably 30 minutes longer than I usually do. Like I'll stay for like 30, 40 minutes, usually 2 to 3 times a week. And I'm like, I'm already at 3 times this week, staying for an hour, 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So it feels great, but I know me. We all know ourselves really well. I know like a month and a half from now, something's going to get in the way or a trip, and then I'll probably slowly go back into my usual routine. But
Okay, but not with that mentality, Connor.
True.
You're already setting yourself up for failure by
True.
saying that.
But it's the thought that counts, right? I'm trying. And listen,
is.
maybe it'll stick. Maybe it'll stick. We'll see. So, and I've also made I'd love to hear your New Year's resolutions. Like, I'm going to lay mine out on the table. So I made some New Year's resolutions, less doom scrolling, because I definitely
Ooh, okay.
get sucked into that so
I like
easily
that.
where I'll just be on my phone. I'm not
Yeah.
a TikTok guy, but I'm an grew up on Instagram, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. And I will just go on my phone. If there's something on TV I don't like, I'm just like on my phone for an hour and a half straight of just scroll, 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 scroll. And I find myself always going back to my phone when I'm bored, and I really want to cut that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to. I'm very cognizant of it. So I've been really great, but big New Year's resolution, less phone time, more reading, whether it
Love
just be
that.
for leisure or for something that's actually educational. So that's why I purchased those two books I just spoke about. One I spoke about, The 5 a.m. Club. Kind of more like self-help, but like for entrepreneurs, books, like stuff like that. But other than that, the past week's been awesome. I can't complain. I'm happy to be back at work, happy to be back here with you guys, kind of getting into the groove and, hopefully looking forward to huge things this year.
When you went out, are you to that restaurant? Are you a booth guy or are you a table guy?
So we like the bar.
Same.
You're the
Same.
bar.
Yeah,
Oh
we
my
like the
God,
bar.
yes.
We're big
Yes.
bar people.
Man.
So
Really?
and then it would be a booth, but we're big bar people because I don't know what it is. I like to interact with the bartenders.
Okay.
I don't mind talking to people who are next to me about like what they're eating or just in general if they're from out of town or something. My wife, Zoe, she despises it though. She likes sitting at the
really?
bar,
But then
she
you guys
doesn't-
get to be kind of close, and that's kind of nice,
Correct.
which I really like too.
Correct. But
What about like a four top?
like for just me and Zoe?
No, like if you and Zoe and then like another couple goes out with you.
Oh yeah, four top. Like then we won't sit at the bar, right? Because
Yeah, that
that's where
makes
we want to
sense.
have that conversation. Like
Yeah.
we've
Okay.
done that once, and it was kind of like everyone's like leaning over each
Yeah.
other to talk, and no one can really have a good conversation. But if
Yeah.
it's just me and Zoe, it's always the bar, always the
Yeah.
bar, because it's just
Interesting.
I don't know, it's more fun. I get to
That's
talk
where
to
the
people.
action's at.
Exactly,
like-
exactly. So that's typically where we'll sit.
That's
I
really
am-
cool.
So
Bar
if
peeps.
it was just myself and my girlfriend, I don't mind bar. I mean, if it's
I don't mind bar.
I actually prefer booths. I guess I'm a pretty private person. I just like booths. I like my space. I like my bubble. I
So
just,
if you're out and at a restaurant and someone starts talking to you, what's like, do you make yourself open to talk, or are you kind of more like, oh, hey, like give like a 1 or 2 word answer or response
I'm not
back?
like closed out. Like yeah, like look, if somebody
You just an asshole, Charlie,
No.
when someone asks you a question?
no, like I'll
Yeah,
talk
for
to
real.
them. Of course, like yeah, of course I'll talk to them. But I just like my space. So for example, my girlfriend and I we were at a Panthers bar on Sunday. We were watching the game, and it was packed, and we were at a table. It wasn't a high top table; it was pretty low, and there were guys standing behind us. And I was just like, oh man. She could tell. She's like, do you want to move somewhere? I was like, no, I'm fine here. I'm fine here. But she could tell I was just kind of like out of my.
You're probably
guess.
overstimulated.
I guess yeah. And there were guys like standing over. There's a
know?
guy like standing here, and our table's kind of low, and they're standing up. And there's a
Crowded
giant-
and overstimulated.
Yeah, there's a giant TV there, and there's a raised part here, and
Yeah.
there's like tops up there, and it's I don't know. It was very different. I like
Yeah.
booths.
Just say
I
you
like
didn't like it.
It was very
No,
different. It
you
was-
like your space. I
it
get
was
it.
it was a learning experience. So and that place
makes
filled
sense.
up quick too. Panthers had to win that game, otherwise they had like a 2% chance to make
And they
the
lost,
playoffs.
right? Or did they?
They
win?
lost, but they needed another team to lose as well. I think is what it was, and that team ended up losing. So Panthers are in. They fucking made it, even though they lost.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, which is bananas. So,
Damn.
yeah, all that to say, I'm a booth person, but we did sit. We were at, I guess I'll get into my week. We were at, I think it was the day after. No, it was before I got sick. I got sick. When I get sick, I get the man cold, and I am just like comatose.
If you tune into last week's episode,
like
you
a
kind of
little
know.
baby. You're like
Charlie
a little baby.
was
Yeah.
he was fading before my eyes, Mallory, on our last on the
Oh,
last
really?
show.
Like you could tell
Yeah.
he was getting sick.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
was just fading. Like he started off
Yeah.
and he's like, I'm not feeling great. My nostrils are a little stuffed, and I was just getting over being sick. I was like, oh, I'm pretty good, ready to go. And just as the episode went on, you could just tell he's just like, oh
Oh my
man,
God.
oh jeez. I'm like,
I'm
oh,
like,
this poor guy.
Hawk,
I was
I'm like muting myself to hawk loogies and
Oh God, yeah.
just get it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to, was it the day after Christmas? I can't remember. One of those days, maybe it was a Friday before Christmas. I can't remember. It's when like all the holiday parties are out, and we went to a nice restaurant. We saw, we actually did sit at the bar for a couple drinks. which is
There you
cool.
go.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle of the restaurant. It's like,
Yeah.
things were happening. Like it was cool. I like I just like going to restaurants and um just having like a buzz. I think that's pretty cool. And we sat next to our table was next to the former head coach of the Denver Broncos, Mike Shanahan.
That's
No
sick.
way.
So that was cool. Yeah, we saw him. He was with Ed McCaffrey and another. His son plays for the Chargers, doesn't he?
Christian McCaffrey?
Christian McCaffrey, yeah.
He plays for the 49ers.
Oh, he plays for the 40. Okay. Yeah. So
They
I
lost
saw.
this week. They
Oh,
lost
did
this
they?
week.
They
Okay.
did. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah, they lost.
They're
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. They're gonna be fine. My family's from Chicago, so while we were in Cancun, we were like watching the Bears and 49ers game.
Oh,
Okay,
the
okay.
Bears game.
Yeah,
Okay.
not
That's
obviously
who it
last
was.
weekend, but the weekend before. And then the 49ers then played this weekend, but they lost. I forgot against who. But yeah, you're right. They're like already going to the playoffs. So
Okay. Dope. So yeah, we saw.
They lost
Let's
to
go.
Seattle. Just ask the guy who gambles. I'll tell you everything
Yeah.
about sports you need to know.
trust me, my father also gambles and does sports betting. So it's like in my world, Connor, like
Okay,
from the
nice.
podcast to my family, like
Yeah.
I'm hearing about it all the time.
All
Yes.
right. So our table is right by his. He's the owner of the restaurant. We went to Shanahan's. So it was him.
Oh, that's his
That's so
restaurant.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was his. So it's a cool restaurant. Great steak.
Dang.
Have you guys ever, I felt like a house cat. Like, have you ever been sitting down and just all of a sudden you just have to puke? Like, blah, just like,
Yeah, it happened. Yes,
that ever
it
happened?
happened this morning, actually, on my way
Really?
back from the gym. I got out of the gym and
Oh,
but I don't know.
It's like
That
out of
happens to me
nowhere.
more often than not. Like, not more often than not, but it does happen to me when I'm at the gym and I have like a really good workout and I walk out and I'm kind of like, does anyone ever have that where your stomach's
Huh.
like,
after a workout? No.
well, if I have
Really?
vitamins on an empty stomach, then I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Yeah.
that's an obvious one. Like, that's
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
of course, I'm going to feel like, it's gross.
Yeah, so I was just sitting at the booth and all of a sudden I could just feel it just kind of like, so I just, anyway, I didn't end up puking.
Did you pull the trigger in the bathroom at the
I did
bar?
not, but no, I like,
I'm
luckily,
going to tell Shanahan about this.
luckily the stall, the stall was open. Well, there's like individual, it was like doors. But yeah, I mean, I was like over the toilet at one point. I was like,
I love how we've
Oh.
talked a lot about puking this episode.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
am I really just gonna boot
Talked
right
about a
now?
lot of different things.
This episode was gonna let it fly, and then my girlfriend came back. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, yeah, I'm fine." I did
Aw.
not end up puking, so no.
Okay, good.
Had a great dinner.
Episode's name
New
is Poo Poo
Year's-
Vomit.
Yeah. Fast forward a little bit, a couple days. Christmas was awesome. Spent it with the fam, of course. And then I got sick. I think it was a few days before New Year's. So we were supposed to go to the Avs game. They were playing St. Louis, and I mean they just completely smoked St. Louis. It was like at one point the Avs, Colorado Avalanche, the Avs had more goals than St. Louis had shots on net. Like
That's
they
nuts.
tossed them around. It was like an NHL team was playing like a high school team at one point. I mean, it was like brutal, and it was funny because not for that goalie, but Team Canada roster was announced, and the St. Louis Blues goalie made the team over the Avs goalie, who was rumored to be making it. And the St. Louis goalie let in like 4 goals, just like bam, 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 and then finally he made a save, and the whole crowd like starts cheering and everything. And
Very cool.
yeah, it's nepotism, it's politics. But anyway, so yeah, did not make it to the Avs game. I didn't go out New Year's. I had a sick tummy,
Oh,
so I was
man.
all plugged up. Feeling way better. I'm like 95% now. I haven't played hockey. I've been going on the bike, but I haven't been lifting at all. I feel like just a gross human. Like I told my girlfriend, like this is the longest I think I went all year without like lifting, or I've been going like I go hard on the bike kind of, but not as hard as I
Well, yeah,
normally
not when you're
would.
like feeling like that. I wasn't
Yeah,
doing
and I was
anything
like,
either,
"Ugh."
which, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, look, I feel like a bag of milk right now. I feel
Yeah.
so gross. Like I
Bag
get
of
winded going downstairs, and it's just
Oh.
like, oh gosh. So I'm playing hockey tonight, first time on the ice.
All right.
Like I woke up at like 3 a.m. the morning of I was supposed to go skate, be on the ice, and I was just doused in sweat. It was like gross. Like okay, I got to cancel and just
Yeah.
lay low for a bit.
Yeah.
So
Yep, I also had I had those sweats while I was
Really?
sick.
Oh,
Oh my God. It's
it's the worst. It
literally
is the worst.
the worst when you're in your bed and you're drenched. I'm like, I can't sleep with the covers on. I can't sleep with them
Yeah.
off. I can't like,
And it's
I'm
cold out,
just
you
a
think?
puddle,
I think,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's just gross.
I don't miss that.
Um, so yeah, like the podcast, all in all, we're in a great spot. We're scaling fast with the app and the podcast. We've got some
We've got
great,
so many guests that
yeah, we've
are
got some
already lined
badass
up,
guests coming up.
which
We got
is
some,
sick.
yeah, which is super exciting. This episode, however, one episode per month, we have agreed amongst the three of us that one of us will talk about a different subject.
No guest.
So no guest today.
No.
We're going to talk about what it's actually like to raise capital. Now, I have not done this for my own company before. I've been offered capital, but I've not taken it. I think I've reached out. It was in the
Did you
past,
get
but
offer capital for DG
for my previous agency, Abstracts.
for abstracts?
Mm,
Yeah, like I've gotten like cold emails from like private equity for DG.
Yeah.
They're like template bullshit emails, whatever.
yeah.
Have you had any sniff around, Connor, for Astoria?
No, not particularly. I mean, I've had those cold emails too, and I just never. I just
It's like whatever.
I
Yeah.
just was self-sufficient enough to just build it out, right, without really needing it. So why
Yeah.
why take
Yeah.
it?
I agree. I agree. I
Yeah.
think that like, and I know I've talked about this on previous episodes, but I think to some extent, like when you think of the startup journey, I think that founders automatically are like, I have to raise, like without
Mhm.
really understanding why or like, does your business even need funding realistically? Like all of these things that you should sort of consider. So I'm excited to dive into that with you guys today.
Yeah. And
Um,
look, all that to say,
but we're
I've
going to have
not
a lot of
raised.
guests that will talk about because
Yeah.
it's just different for various products depending upon where you're at like so as I share some of even like what my experience has been like today, like it's just different. I think the fundraising environment is also different right now. So I think Charlie's got a great lineup of some future guests that will be able to kind of dive into this topic even further.
We'll have some angel investors on. We've got a VC coming on here
Yeah.
pretty soon as well. He has a great platform. So, yeah, things are buzzing. Things are going up and up. So, all that to say, between myself and Connor, we have not raised. So, on this episode, we're going to be talking to Mallory, who has had that experience in the past and what it was like before and after. We have like a general outline, but like, I have questions that are not
Sure.
on there. And just like, I mean, it's got to be a freaking roller coaster, that whole process. So again, it's just Mallory talking about what it's actually like, because she has done it to raise capital. So I guess we'll start at the end. How much have you raised for your app?
I believe I was like looking through some of my documentation this morning before we recorded. Nearly 800K.
Wow.
Okay, in
Nice.
what
So
amount of
not a
time?
mil. So the first round, which was around half a mil, no, maybe like 600K. But that took me three, 4 months max, I think. 3 months, though, probably 3 months, maybe a little less. And then the second time around, when I tried to raise even more money, but only raised about like 200-ish K,
Hmm.
I think I ran about like a 2 month sprint. Like it was maybe, yeah, 2 months to get
Okay.
that. I mean, I wanted to get more at the time, but I was able to secure some amount of funding.
Hmm.
But ideally, when it comes to timelines, like your goals are to essentially close the round as quick as you possibly can,
Yeah.
because that also signals to investors that you have the momentum and the traction, or even just like the interest in
Yeah.
getting
Scarcity,
a
right?
round closed,
Yeah.
right? So, if you read any books about fundraising, you'll most likely see that like your goal as a founder is to create a lot of momentum and to close as quickly as you possibly can. For the obvious reason too, to get back to actually building your company, building your
Hmm.
product, right? Like fundraising is a full-time job. Like it really truly is, which means like it's going to take time away from other things. And I think that's another thing that founders need to think about. I've met many founders that are like, "Oh, I'm on month 6 of fundraising." When it's like, if it's taking you this long, you should pause, ask yourself why you're not raising the capital, and probably go back to working on your product or your company and try fundraising again at a later time, because it's not something that should be taking you that much time. Now, what I will say is if you're a founder who has no connections to VCs or angel investors, before you even start fundraising, you will need to start like meeting and networking meeting and networking and with investors. Like that work, relationship building starts before you even begin the fundraising process.
So,
So,
Mallory, I'm sorry to
um,
cut you off too,
no,
because I
cut me
just
off.
like
I'm kind of diving in.
I have
There's
so many
so much
questions
here.
about this, right? Like one reason why I never got funding too, it's like, yeah, I just never need it was self-sustainable for me, but it's like I also had no clue where would I even start, right? What do I even do? And that's really happy we're talking about this today because I can ask all of those, I guess, elementary questions. But when you're saying create those relationships with investors, network, is that just something as simple as like going to an event and starting to talk to them before you even like bring up capital? Or is it just,
Yes.
hey, this is who I
Yes.
am, this is what I
Mhm.
do, and kind of leave it at that, right? You don't want to
Yeah,
broach the
you're not
subject of
selling
meeting.
them. You're not, it's kind of very similar actually to creating like PR relationships. Like say you're trying
Hmm.
to like get a piece in Business Insider. You don't just like hit up, I mean, look, if you've got a bunch of press going off and like people want to write stories about you, you probably could get a story a lot easier. But if you're up and coming, you're going to have to build a relationship with that reporter. You're going to try to get to know them and you're going to try and not sell yourself right away. They're going to know they're not stupid, right? Investors are the same way. They've gone through thousands of pitch decks. They've been in thousands of meetings with founders.
Yeah.
They know exactly when you're on and you're pitching versus like, hey, I'm trying to learn. It's more so building the relationship with the investor and getting to know them, getting to know what they invest in, what they're
Mhm.
curious about, what they're interested in. Like it's really because, and I think we've talked about this too, right? Because like if raising money is one thing, but when you've got an investor on your cap table and you haven't done your due diligence and research to figure out whether or not they're actually a good fit, because sometimes founders get so desperate, they're like, I'll just take cash or checks from anyone when
Yeah.
it's like, actually, like, it's really difficult to get someone off of your cap table. And so you really need to do the relationship building and the due diligence before you decide to, sign a safe note or whatever it is in
Mhm.
exchange for capital. And I say safe note because typically early stage startups are using safe notes
I can't.
to secure fundraising. And when I say early stage, I'm talking about pre-seed and seed. Once you
Mhm.
get to Series A and beyond, that is usually a different sort of structure. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you later about safe because I just hate the idea of a safe.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just an IOU, isn't it? On a
It really is.
napkin.
It's an
Yeah.
IOU. Yeah. It's essentially like your equity is not real until you are essentially at a serious financial fundraising round, which is technically like your Series A.
Until you raise
So
more money
correct.
after you
Correct.
talk to the yeah.
Correct.
So
That's that
here, so it's
yes.
like Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "Hey, 250,000, but hang on to that one."
Because and that's the thing, right? So when you're raising this early and you're taking capital from angels or VCs, like yes, they are technically IOUs, but they're in a place where they can invest in early stage startups. So, and it is very risky for them.
Yeah,
Especially if you're a first time founder. So if you're
yeah,
listening to
yeah,
this and you're like, I've never fundraised before, I've never even built a product, like it is even more difficult for first time founders to attain,
yeah. Mhm.
fundraising and cash versus someone who's done it a few times. And I actually know that there are some VCs and investors that don't even want to invest in first time
Yeah.
founders because the reality of you failing is like super high and
Yeah.
they want to see if you're able to actually fail and then get back out there and do it
Mhm.
again, which is why they usually invest in repeat founders because they
Yeah.
know like, oh, you're in it no matter what, right? So, yeah. Yeah.
So going back to the app that you raised, and for context, real quick, what was
Yes.
the idea
So
behind
for
the app?
context,
Excuse me.
after I left my time at Discord, I took about a few months off, and I at that time knew I wanted to launch my own startup, and so I was already in the process of basically getting together some co-founders. Before I even started fundraising, before I even started any of that, I sat down. I was thinking about like what are the problems that I really would love to solve in the world because if you build a startup it's obviously every founder that we've had on here talks about the difficulties of it. And the only thing that really is going to keep you going is your vision and your purpose and your passion around the problem in which you're trying to solve for. And so obviously, like I've been a community marketer my whole life. And so I like after the pandemic, after working at Discord, really being responsible for creating digital third spaces and places, I wanted to be like, okay, how do we bring this to the real world? Like, how do we better connect our friends and family and what have you in the real world and create stronger connections, especially because out of the pandemic, the loneliness epidemic was a huge problem. And I was like, how do I take my community chops, my tech chops, and build something that can help people get together and spend more time with the people they care about in real life, and really sort of create those strong connections and bonds. And so that was kind of like the vision, right? And then it was about figuring out how I could get help in building the product itself before even thinking about fundraising or any of that stuff. It was about finding the right co-founders to work with and figuring out what that initial product would look like.
Hmm.
And it changed many times. In the 2.5 years I worked on my own product, it changed from, making an app that was super easy for you to plan something with friends to then like actually it pivoted into, a product that made it really easy for you to plan and schedule date nights with your significant other and like find really cool restaurants and experiences in a way where like so for example, like if you go on TikTok or Instagram Reels and you scroll through and you're like, oh, this would be a really cool place to go to, you would send it to your significant other, your friend, and be like, we should go do this thing. And it kind of dies there. And so I wanted to find a way to take a piece of content and essentially translate that into like a plan or an IRL experience. For couples and even eventually for friends. And I say for couples because our initial product failed. There are a lot of other competing products in the space. It's a very consumer social in general is tough. And
Hmm.
so if you decide to build in the consumer social space, it's even at the time it was really difficult to fundraise. I still think it's hard to fundraise in this space. It's not like this, it's like the sexiest thing for founders to be in, but it is not the easiest sort of space for founders to build in and be successful in. And I knew that going in, but I didn't care. I was like, I don't care. And so yeah, so that's kind of like the idea of what whatever was focused on. And
Hmm.
at the time too, Partyful just started taking off as we were building whatever. Trying to think like at the time there were other consumer social products that were like starting to take off and be
Hmm.
built after post pandemic. So it was a great time, realistically, I felt like to build in the space. And
Hmm.
the investors that I raised from essentially felt the same way. They understood the loneliness epidemic. They understood the fact that there's an opportunity for new products to kind of grow in the consumer social space. And more importantly, they loved the team that I had put together. If you are a very early stage founder and you have an all-star team, it technically, it's not, there's no easy way to fundraise, but it definitely helps, is what I'm trying to say. So I basically brought on one of the OG engineers at Discord. I
Ooh,
brought on an OG designer
Nice.
from both Discord and Cloudflare.
dope.
So I had like, I felt like I had a designer and an engineer, and then myself as a marketer and my background. I felt like it
Hmm.
was a dream team. And
Hmm.
believe it or not, like that was really how I raised in the beginning. I'm very different from many founders in that I've had a lot of experience in the tech world. And so because of that, my network and my ability to fundraise came from that. So for example, like we raised from Matt Prince, and Matt Prince is the CEO of Cloudflare, right? And that was a connection that Kevin, my co-founder, had at the time. And then, I had connections on with folks at specific companies, et cetera. And so
Hmm.
it was like, how do we just like tap into our own network of, high wealthy individuals that can, invest in us? And that's what they did. They didn't, a lot of them, even in the beginning, they were like, Mallory, this is going to pivot. This is going to change so many times. I'm investing in you because I believe in you.
Right.
And so that's also a big thing too, right? Is that a lot of early stage investors are like, yeah, you're probably going to flop on this idea, but I believe that you're going to be great and that you can build a company. So I'm investing in you directly versus like a series A, B, C, D round, which like, of course, you're still investing in the founder. You want to make sure they can take that company from series A to B to C to wherever and exit, right?
Hmm.
But in the earliest stages, I didn't have a product yet. I raised money without a product, without traction. That's very difficult to do. And I really actually owe that to the fact that I had kind of this rich network
Yeah.
of people that I had already worked with. I didn't raise from VCs initially. I actually never raised from VCs. All the money that I have raised is directly from angel investors, or like very small. Like I raised I raised some money from the mini fund, and the person who runs that was the ex CMO at Discord and my old boss. But and he has a small fund where essentially they invest 100K checks into, early stage companies. So they're not really a traditional VC, but they're kind of like
A
they
mini
are a fund.
fund.
Yeah.
A mini fund. Is that the guy that works out of his garage?
Oh no, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
I'm
I
thinking
hope
of
we
somebody
have
else.
his name's Eros Resmini.
Oh, that's okay.
I
I'm
think I
way off
have him.
base.
Yeah, you're way off, but that's okay.
Leave me alone, Mallory.
It's fine. It's fine.
Anyways,
Anyways,
the mini
but
stuff. Okay.
I'm
So
sending it to you.
what I'm going back again. You've got the idea for the app. You've got co-founders.
Yep,
What made you want to raise?
that's a great question. So I think at the time, I fell into the trap of feeling like we needed to raise, and more so because if I brought on two amazing, talented people, they had to quit their full-time jobs and they wanted us to like be all in on it. I wanted to be all in on it and not work on it part-time. So for us to like, I really honestly raised money not for marketing purposes, not to scale the app because we didn't have a product yet. I raised money to give us the ability to essentially build the product and then launch it. And on top of that, like have the resourcing to
Mhm.
essentially build it. So that's why I raised money. I'm lucky that I was able to do that, right? Like depending on who you are and your background, you may not even be able to raise until you have traction, or it just depends on your situation
That
and
was going to be
background,
my question.
right?
Like how much do you have to do? Like, it sounds again like you just had the idea, right? You knew what you wanted to
Yeah,
do. You
there
kind of
was
had the
no
team,
product.
but there
Yeah.
was no product. So it's
No.
like, it sounds like more
No.
times than not, though, an investor is going to look for the product, right? Or some kind
Yes.
of
Yes. They are.
validity to that. Like, hey, you started building this already.
Yeah.
It's X percentage along.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready to invest,
Yeah.
right? So
So it wasn't even like a pre-seed. Like it wasn't even like when I talked to my advisors and investors, they were like, "You're not even raising a seed," or it's basically a pre-seed is what is the best way
yeah.
to is probably the best way to explain what we did. But usually at the pre-seed round, you're either investing in the team or maybe there's some signs of early traction. Maybe you have a wait list of 10,000 people. Maybe like, right. But it's going to be very small data points, right?
Hmm.
And many of the times it's just the founder. Like you're just investing in the
Yeah.
founder. They haven't even built the product yet. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, so it's a very different space than many founders who are perhaps already have a product, have launched it into the world, they have some amount of traction. And, the question you need to ask yourself is like, why do you need the capital? And it could be different for everyone. There's no right or wrong. I don't know. I don't think there's necessarily right or wrong answers here. I mean, I definitely think there's smart and stupid decisions around fundraising and
Hmm.
taking money when you should or should not. So I will say that. But many founders don't raise until they have some amount of traction. And look, I think that's the way to go. Like if I had to go back and redo it,
I was just
I
going to
would
ask you
I would
with
bootstrap for as long as possible. And it's not because my investors were difficult to deal with or what have you. I just think that to me, that is a signal that it's going to work and that I'm actually hopefully going to move the company in a direction where my investors are going to get some amount of payout.
Mhm.
Um, and it wasn't like working with VCs where I was like, oh, I'm, dealing with control from my investors. And that's
Yeah.
why I never want to raise again. It didn't have to do with anything like that. I actually think my investors were quite great and helpful. I just, if I just, the idea of owning a business fully on myself and I don't have to like share that out with investors or get that, like, I just feel like
Yeah.
that to me sounds like the way to go. And at the time, I'm like, I want to bring on these co-founders. I want to build this product. I want to build a VC backed business. I want to build a VC scalable business, which means you're building a product for millions of people. You're not building a product for 5,000 high paying customers. You're trying to build a company at scale. And so, because I had that vision, I was like, I have to raise. It wasn't even a question. There was no question in my mind on whether or not
And
I was
fast
like, I
too.
have to raise and I have to raise fast.
Yeah.
And I need to figure out how to get capital so that we can start working on this and put it out into the world, learn, get the traction, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the fact that like we had the trifecta of like a marketer, an engineer, a designer, I was like, okay, this is a great starting team to the point where they're not going to have to bring on all these folks to help. Like they can just run with it. But yeah, so then asking yourself why you need to raise the capital, like and what the goal is around that, I think is a great question to ask yourself. And then are you trying to build, a VC scalable business? Although I would also argue raising from VCs and angels is different. To me, I'd also, if I had to raise again, I would try and raise with angels. Um, I just feel like once you raise with VCs, it's just the expectations, and it just changes the game of
It's a
everything.
different game. Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
such a
that's what I've
different
heard.
game, and I don't,
VC
looking back
math.
on it, I don't want to play it. I
Yeah.
personally don't want to. And that's not to say it's bad to raise with VCs or you shouldn't raise with VCs. That is just my personal opinion. But if I could do it again, I would definitely try and bootstrap for as long as possible before I considered raising. But look, if I came out, had a great idea, and someone was like, I'm going to give you a $10 million check to maybe start this, would I consider it? Perhaps. Perhaps. So
Yeah.
it's really, and for 10 million, like, yeah, maybe you give away. I'm trying to remember how much of the company I technically gave away because
Mhm.
I also had a cut with my co-founders, right? And then it was like how much I raised. It depends on the terms, but if the terms are great and you haven't, there's a part of me that's kind of like, okay. So it's really
Why
like
wouldn't you?
situational.
Right.
It's really just like, there's no right or wrong answer. It just really depends on what you're building and who you're building for and the market and the timing. Right now, it's a great time to raise. It's been great for the last 12 plus months. The money has been flowing. It's right. And then there are some years where it's like really difficult to raise. And those are years where you try to be heads down, build relationships with investors until maybe your product can get into a great place where it's you're ready to fundraise. And so yeah. And it's funny because I get a lot of pitch decks from founders that want me to like kind of look through the pitch decks. And so
Mm.
there's a whole sort of process involved when it comes to fundraising. Um, Obviously like making sure you understand who your ideal investors are, right? Because it's like, how can this investor potentially help build my business,
Yeah.
right?
So like, that was gonna be my question is like, did you have like a top 20, like almost like a
Yeah.
leaderboard
Yeah,
of
I wanted to know,
investors?
like, yeah,
Yeah,
did you
it's a
kind of like
pipeline.
That's kind of
sales
It's a
pipeline then?
pipeline.
yeah,
It's
that's
a
what we have
pipeline,
for campaign
just like you
pilots.
would for any other, right? Any other pipeline for other parts of your business. You're doing the same thing, but for investors, right? So understanding who they are, what their background is, how can they help, right? So for example, we have a wonderful guest coming on next week, Silvio Vado Lopez, and I'm excited to kind of chat with her. But she was an investor that I brought on. Was really excited because she's the queen of consumer social. She worked at Pinterest and Canva very early till
Wow.
those companies grew. And
Hmm.
I was like, if I'm going to build in the consumer social space, I need someone with that sort of expertise that can help me think about that, right? And
Yeah.
so, what are your sort of weaknesses or blind spots as a founder, and how can your investors potentially fill in those gaps, right? So, once again, not just about the check, but what can they really provide your company and your business? Are they going to advocate for you and post about you on LinkedIn? Are they going to introduce you to other, potential investors that that they're connected to, right? Like, and that, like, I'm listing out some examples that have, been helpful and supportive for me as I've brought on investors to my cap table. So, yeah, that's something else I would definitely think about.
Gotcha.
But
So you kind of have like another question too, I had, Mallory, was when it comes to the investors, right? You have a conversation with them, you explain, the idea, then they have
yes.
some interest in it. What is their expectation like in terms of like what they need to see back in return, like KPIs, like metrics? Is there anything that they're typically asking for, or is that a
So
down the road thing?
that's a great question. I would say that in terms of what they're looking for, like obviously they're going to look for like when are you like in this case, I'm sharing my example, right? But like when are you launching? What are your actual launch goals here? And what do those metrics actually look like? What is like the total addressable market, right? Like what's the LTV, right, of the potential sort of customer that
Mm-hmm.
you're planning to bring on? Maybe like, so for example, we didn't have a product yet, but I talked to 50 people that fit this persona that, kind of checked out some of our Figma mock-ups and they went through it and they were like, oh, this is interesting. Or, oh, like, here's a quote on or some examples of how, they could actually benefit from the problem in which we're trying to solve for. So, like, doing some of that initial research really helps too, especially if, once again, you don't have a product out in the world with traction. Obviously, if you have a product out in the world with traction, you're going to be sharing different
So much
metrics.
easier to kind of show already what's there, right? Like, so that's really
Exactly.
it. Like, if you have nothing to show, like,
Your
how do you even like,
storytelling. Your
yeah,
storytelling. Like,
yeah.
honestly, that's kind of what I'm doing. Like, storytelling and sort of being like, look at us and look how great our background is, which I like that is what I did when I would pitch. I would literally spend time talking about like in the beginning who we are, why our team is so fit to solve for this problem, right? Like why us in comparison to all these other founders out there. And this, once again, you're going to talking about this because I don't have a product with traction. So, but then talking about like who we're actually targeting, what we're trying to build for and solve for, what that market actually looks like, what our launch plans look like, what's the marketing behind our launch plans, right? It's not just like, oh, we're doing marketing. It's like, no, this is what we're going to do to really sort of target this core
So
customer.
you dive as deep as like, hey,
Yes.
these are the channels,
Yep.
this is the message, this is the value proposition, this
Yep.
is, okay.
Yeah. So I'd have a long pitch deck. I had a very in-depth pitch deck and it changed, right? So for the second time that I raised, I had like investors to show off on a whole slide of like, we have this guy, we have this person investing, and I have this advisor, right? Just social proof, as much social proof as you can possibly sort of create.
Sell the sizzle, right?
Sell the sizzle. That's exactly what you're doing, right?
So then how was your pitch to your first investor, that first scheduled meeting? How is that different from the meeting where you actually got your first check?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, it really depends because like
and how many did it take?
That's a great question. I think it could take anywhere between, it depends. Like I would sometimes get yeses on my first meeting. So anywhere between 1 to 3 meetings.
So your first
with an angel investor, by the way. VCs I did pitch with, there were a few where I would be on like round 4 or 5. And I'm like, I hope we fucking close it. And we didn't. But like the further you go along realistically with like usually is a good signal, especially from a VC that like you're getting closer to cutting a check. It's not a guarantee, but it is a good signal. And many times I could never get past the first meeting, like with a VC. It was usually like one meeting and I'd follow up or do what I have to do and it would be a no. Or sometimes I'd get ghosted,
That's shitty. So your experience with raising, how many pitches did it take before you got your first check? And how is that?
Yeah, that was a great question.
Pitch different?
The pitch changed every single time. Every single time I talked to an investor, the pitch changed.
You try and tailor it to the specific investor?
Yes, always. You try and tailor it to them. And it's the second time around was really interesting because I started talking more about couples. And so obviously not many people are in relationships. So I would really try and like get an understanding of their relationship and how this product could potentially actually really solve for some of the things that they're dealing with in their relationship, right? To get like so they understand the problem. Like if investors understand the problem, they're going to be more likely to actually invest than if they have no idea about what you're actually trying to build and solve for. So yes, to answer your question, Connor, I'd always try and be like, okay, how do I cater this pitch to this person? So doing research on the investor, very in-depth, very in-depth research. Who are they? What are they in, what are they investing in? What's their actual sort of role at this company? And now I'm kind of talking more about VCs than angel investors. Angel investors usually, not always, come from your network, and even then are more casual in approach. Like usually with a VC, you can cold call them, you can cold reach out, but like very many times they don't want to talk to you unless a founder from their portco is introing you to them. Like it's very much so a game of like, VCs for me were like, I would map out the pipeline and then I would put all of their names on a whiteboard and be like, okay, here's my network. They're connected to this person.
He knows.
He knows this person. Okay, I know them. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to get on a call with them. I'm not even just be like, hey, help me intro them. I'm getting on a call with them. How can I support them? How can they help me with this favor? Right? Like, how can we both benefit each other so that I can get this intro and so I can get this pitch in this first meeting? And that's a whole thing. Whereas angel investors, I feel like are usually more casual to approach. If they're really interested in you, or perhaps they have someone, in your network in common, they'll more likely probably be able to respond. But I would even still cater my messaging and my pitch to them, right? So whether it's a VC or an angel investor, you should always cater your pitch. And every single time I would pitch, I'd have them ask me really specific questions that I felt like, oh, this is interesting. Like my pitch doesn't cover this, or like there's a weakness here. Like, and then I'd go back with my co-founders and be like, here's my pitch. Like, this is how I'm changing it. And it would change every single time. Whether it's because I got really good feedback or it's because of the fact that I'm making sure I cater my pitch to who I'm speaking to. And then like there's a lot of rules around simple things like, a lot of investors ask for pitch decks. Like, and when I say investors, like VCs ask for pitch decks before meetings, and I usually will not give it to them because what happens is they start looking into it and they start creating assumptions on your business and who you are without you getting to actually speak for yourself and tell that story and tell that pitch. So like there's even little things like that that I was really sort of keeping in mind so I could close the check. And so, but it is a game and a process with VCs, and I would highly recommend that if you are like, I'm building a VC backed business, to try and talk to other founders who have raised with VCs to understand what their process has been like, how they've been able to find success, and how they've managed those relationships, because you have to also manage them. It's not just you're raising a check and you're done. Like you are sending them quarterly updates.
Yeah.
If you're at a Series A and beyond, they're on your board potentially. Like you're creating whole end of quarter presentations on like how you're presenting this to the board. If you're Series A and beyond, like it is a whole thing, which I don't have that experience, and I'm excited to chat with people who do, and they'll join the pod. Right. I'm really more so familiar with the early stage fundraising situations, but when I've known so many founders that have gone through this, and I've even sat through a few board meetings myself, so I'm a little familiar, but I don't have the experience in doing that. But
it's time consuming.
It's a lot, and so like really ask yourself, like, is that what you want to, is because it's going to be a part of your responsibilities as a CEO and founder to take care of it. So do you like, is that something you would be down to do? And it's hard to think about this if you don't have the experience, right? You're just like, I want to build the biggest business. I want to like, right. But like it comes with all of these responsibilities as a founder that you as CEO have to take on. And managing your investors is usually up to the CEO. It's not like, look, as you get bigger, yeah, maybe the CFO and the CTO become involved in the board meetings, but the CEO is managing the investors. Yeah. Other executives and other people help support the CEO and like creating the board like presentations if you're Series A and above, or creating the investor updates or whatever it may be, right? But like you are responsible as a founder and CEO to manage those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Did you find like real quick, did you find in your experience, did you find that angels would invest in the jockey and VCs would invest more in the horse?
Ooh.
Nice way to put it, Charlie.
Yeah.
The jockey and the horse, yeah.
And what, like, explain more though.
I think it's Charlie, you mean like the jockey being like
the founder.
Yeah. So are angel investors more interested in
the person, and VCs
Mallory,
invest in the product?
And are the VCs more interested in product?
I see. I would say yes, but VCs also care about the founder. They do. They very, very much so care about who the founder, but they want to see the traction and like in addition to what angel investors would initially sort of expect, right? So they technically look at both. They do want, because VCs understand that the likelihood of you pivoting and changing your business is very high. Mm-hmm. So are you going to be the founder to do that? And in fact, I've had many VCs, okay, let's talk about like, it's really difficult for a woman of color to raise. And I will say I had to have my co-founders in the room many times because I was not taken seriously. And yeah, like perhaps that was partly an insecurity, but it's not. Like I've had proof. Like I had one VC talk to one of my investors and was like, is Mallory really is like, she's serious about this? After like going through a whole like 2 rounds, like we did a whole pitch round. Like I did an initial meeting. I met with them in person. Like and my investor was like, you don't know Mallory if that's your take. Like you don't know her. Wow. Which I'm really glad I've had investors on my side that can like stick up for me like that. But like I've had a lot of people like not take me seriously, or I felt like I really like I'm in a pitch meeting with like 3 or 4 dudes, and I just felt like it was easier for me to not like I was taken more seriously if I had male counterparts. And that is a very specific experience to me and my background, but like
it's shitty.
It really is hard to raise as a woman in tech. It's very difficult. And it's like the stat is like 2% of women founders raise VC funding. Wow. It's like extremely low. Wild. And that percentage like kept me motivated because I'm like I really want to try and show up in this space.
Change that narrative.
Like, change the narrative. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I still think it's possible. Like I'm not, even though I've gone through it and didn't raise successfully with VCs, and that's okay. Like I learned a lot from it. I I just wish that would change. I really want to see more female founders in the space and have more VC backing and support. So yeah. Yeah. But I also dealt with a lot of that, which we
So
don't
as
need to
far
talk too much about, but yeah.
as far as like those investors go, it's like, so we talked about kind of the sales pipeline and building the investor relationships. Like, how did you specifically go about like your targeting? Like, who were you looking for specifically? Did you have any like tactics that you used for it in regards to like people you knew you would want to invest or become an angel investor or VC?
Yeah, I did. And I even had some investors on my cap table that were like dreams. I'm like, oh my gosh, like if they invested, it'd be so cool. Like the CEO of Bumble at the time, Whitney, oh my gosh, now I forgot her name. I'm like, she's my dream investor, and I forgot about her name. Um, Whitney Hurd. So Whitney Hurd at the time when I was building whatever, she was the CEO of Bumble. She was like my dream investor when we pivoted because I'm like, if anyone understands the dating market, it's Whitney Hurd. Like she gets
Of
it.
course.
And if I'm going to be building in the space, I now need to have investors on my cap table who have built these types of products.
Yeah.
We weren't building a dating app, right? But they understand the world of relationships and couples and what have you. So
Somewhat
like,
specialized in the same.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So she was on my cap table, and I was like, this is probably impossible because, like, I don't know this woman. I don't know anyone associated with this woman. But I eventually got a call with Bumble, which is hilarious. And it wasn't
Really?
Whitney, but it was actually their not their R&D team. What do you call it? It was their team that like deals with acqui-hires and acquisitions essentially. But I had a
Like
business
M&A?
insider. Yeah, like M&A essentially. But they eventually reached out, and it's because I tried to
They
add a
reached
bunch of
out?
them on LinkedIn. Yes.
Oh.
I tried to add, like, I would go in and I'd look up, I'm like, okay, who is in charge of making decisions at this company? When it comes to fundraising, when it comes to the business, when it comes to, I'm like, how do I get to this woman? Like, that was my goal,
Yeah,
which,
yeah,
by the
yeah.
way, I've never had a meeting with Whitney Hurd, not to like, but I did get a meeting with Bumble. They were interested in whatever. They saw the Business Insider article of me talking about whatever and how we were
Ah,
pivoting and like
okay.
moving into this space. And they're like, oh, we're like thinking about, investing in and building for relationships because like after you use a dating app and you find a significant other, you leave the dating app, you churn, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
they're like, how do we, continue to keep people around? And looking back was probably a waste of my time. It was cool, but it was like,
It's an experience
it's an
nonetheless, right?
experience. It probably wasn't the best use of my time because I don't think we were going to get anywhere with it. We didn't launch the product yet. I think they probably wanted to learn more about like what we were up to than like actually invest in us. But like to me, it was like, oh my God, like they see us. Like this is like a direction and a step in the right direction for me to eventually get to someone like Whitney Hurd. But I would like reach out to a bunch of people on our team. I would try and get like meetings with them. Right. So it's just like playing that game, but yeah. And she's, once again, like to answer your question, Charlie, like she has a background in dating. Therefore, we were building in that space. I thought it was appropriate for her to maybe be on our cap table.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like you
Yeah.
look at the crime shows or like movies and they have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the board with the strings attached
That's what
to
I was thinking,
everybody,
yeah.
and it's like, yep,
Yes.
okay, this person knows them, they know that, they're in this, they specialize there,
Yep.
and it's like,
Yeah.
and that'll give you kind of the pool, I guess, so to speak,
Yeah.
to target from.
That's what I did. So building a basic pipeline, right? Like you would for sales, like you would for many other
Yeah.
tasks, specifically for investing and fundraising. And then it's about like, okay, how do we actually get a meeting with these folks, especially if we don't know them, right? If you know them already, that's easy. Like I was able to get meetings with a bunch of people that I already knew. It's not from one
Yeah,
email or
right.
one message,
Mhm.
right? Like that's not difficult. But for the folks that you're trying to get to, you really have to take a step back and be like, how, and if you have no connections to that person, then how are you going to get them? And who are those right people? Is the game you then have to play. And I did that too with some folks or investors. I'm like, ooh, I'd really love to meet them. But I don't know any founders that know. I don't have any personal relationship to founders that are in their portco, but I'm going to start building relationships with those founders that are in their portco
Yeah,
so that I
yeah.
can lock a check. Does that make sense? So it was like,
It's kind of like sneakily getting your way like in there
Yeah.
to be like, okay,
yeah, exactly. So it's intense selling skills, right?
wildly
Intense
intense.
BD.
Gotta know how to
business
sell.
development. You got to know how to
Mhm.
sell, and you have to be willing to kind of build those BD chops. It's about also building the relationships on top of it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just sounds like a lot of FaceTime, right?
A lot
Really
of
more than anything.
FaceTime, a lot of meetings, a lot of pitching, a lot of changing your pitching, a lot of redoing your presentation, redoing like it's this process. And then like, how do you create that fundraising momentum? Like, for example, I would maybe one VC didn't reach out, like they didn't respond to my first email. I got an intro, they didn't respond. I follow back up in a week and I'm like, hey, we just had this Business Insider article drop. XYZ just is decided to invest. Like, could we chat, right? Like, so trying to like create that momentum within your fundraising process, right? To be like, I'm hot shit. You need to invest in us now, not later. And here's why. And my investors and my advisors help me with that. They would help me be like, okay, I'd take them through my pipeline. I'd take them through how much I'm raising. They would ask me questions on how I'd use the money. They would like pitch. I had with the mini fund I just showed you, I had like a pitch meeting where I had to pitch to 3 of the partners and they would just tear me apart for an hour. So you have to be willing to just get torn to
beat the shit out of.
You have to be like a masochist.
Exactly. You're gonna get fucked. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like,
and you just had to pick yourself back up after those meetings and just like on to the next.
It's
right?
good
like,
for you though. Like,
did you find it progressively harder? Like, because you've had you have multiple meetings, right? So like, say you get to the second or the third meeting, does it get progressively harder in regards to like having those and just
and feedback? Then when it's like you go through this process for 2 months and like your goal was to raise $1 million, but you're only at like, maybe 200K, which is not nothing, right? And you're not where you need to be and you're trying to create the momentum and it's like, I'm not gonna be able to cut these checks. And so after 2 months, it was like, I'm going to stop because this is a waste of my time. I need to get back to my product and do what I have to do because this is the feedback that I've received even at the earliest of stages. So
it's like
it's hard.
At what point are you like, you're not paying attention, you're not focusing on your product and you're just so focused and in the weeds of the raising capital that, when do you make that decision?
I'm lucky I had 2 co-founders. I did my best to like only involve them when I thought it made sense. Yes, I updated them. Yes, they had connections to folks that I would then pitch to, but my goal was for them to build the product so that I could go fundraise. And so we wouldn't be only focusing on fundraising. And then I'd only bring them in a room on like meeting 2 or 3, or for some of them, I felt like I needed them to be there for people to take me seriously. But like, I tried to handle as much of it as I could so that I wouldn't distract their time away from the product. But look, that's then time away that I'm taking, right? It's not, that's time away for me too, to be taking away from the product and doing research and like talking to customers and like doing all the things that are really important for early stage founders to be doing. So that's why I said it's a trade-off.
Head on a swivel.
It's a trade-off. And if you're spending a copious amount of time fundraising, I would probably maybe just pause and reconsider and ask yourself, like, honestly, like, why?
Is it worth the time, the effort? Or should I just focus on the product, right? And continue.
Like
you said, just bootstrap things again.
And try again after 6 months when we have some amount of like data or traction or momentum that can put us in a spot of successfully being able to cut a check, right?
What were some of those tough questions you got? Just out of curiosity, like what were some of the hardest, like, or even critiques, right? Like, because you're saying it's like, you went into like some meetings and you just got absolutely like, blasted, right? Tore it apart. Like what?
I mean, I would have like, for example, I remember when I had a meeting with Sarah O'Leary. She was a founder at Nextdoor and she is working at some VC now. She's badass. But I got a meeting with her. I didn't know her. I was so excited because I'm like, oh my God.
How long are these meetings, by the way?
30, 45 minutes. Okay. Usually, like you got 30 minutes to like do what you got to do. So, and I would come, it's literally that. It's literally that. You don't have time to like until meeting 2 or 3 to like maybe really dive into the really specifics, right? But like, I mean, I basically pitched to her my product and was like, she's like, this isn't going to work. Like, you don't like it just, it's not even like the questions. It's like, this isn't going to work. And I would she's like, I would stop what you're doing. I would not do this thing. And I would go and learn this thing, XYZ. And right. So like getting the feedback of like, it's not just a no, but it's like, oh, wow. Like and she was wonderful. Like she didn't do anything wrong. Right. But it was like, this is not even just a no. This is like a,
like, no, not, oh no. And also this is going to fail. Like, which is tough, but you need that though too. Right.
No,
it's
you
like,
do.
Yeah.
So were you just like, thanks, appreciate it, took it. And then you're like, but I'm just charging ahead.
I did take and here's the thing, right? This is what one of my biggest learnings as a founder, especially if you're in a place where you have an amazing network, it's like, what advice do you take and what advice do you leave aside? Because if you decide to listen to everyone and cater your business accordingly, then you're not going to win.
Oh, never.
Because
Yeah.
you need to have strong, like as a founder, you need to have strong stances and visions and kind of stand by those. And not that I didn't per se, but like it was really hard for me when you're talking to someone who built next door. It's like, well, if they think this whole thing's gonna fail, then I'm gonna sit down and be like, maybe it is. Like maybe I need to
Yeah.
like go in and like change these things or change this part of my pitch completely. And I did that a lot of the times. And it's hard to know when that's the right decision or not the
Yeah.
right decision, because a lot of the times as a founder, you're solving for problems that no one has ever solved for before. Not always, right? But many times. And so it's like, take their advice with a grain of salt. But it was really hard for me to do that when I was able to get into the room with people that I was like admired, very successful. But in terms of questions, like I'm trying to think of the hardest questions. It's so hard for me to think of what that would look like right now. But yeah, I felt like
Sure,
it was
you had
more
some
around,
tough ones in there, right? It's like the feedback again, probably just being the toughest, but it's what
Yeah,
it is, right?
it
That's the
is what it
experience.
is, especially the no's that you'd get after like meeting 2 or 3.
Sure, it humbles
Yeah.
you very much, I'm
Yeah.
sure, where you're like, yep, great, head's this big, and then you're like, all right, well, if you have
Yeah.
certain people saying something like, okay, like
Yeah,
kind of
and then it's like, how do you
temper it.
go back to your co-founders and like try to keep up the excitement? And that's at any stage of
True,
any
didn't
company.
even think of that either.
It's
Having to
true,
go
but
back.
it's like now I
Yeah.
got to go back and be like, guys,
That's
this didn't
tough.
work, and like,
Yeah.
what's my plan B? Because like they quit both their jobs to join me. They quit and had extremely well, like great salaries to like take the risk to believe in me and us to do this. And so I didn't want to let them down. And so just like, how do you keep that face on? I talk to founders about
Yeah.
this all the time, because especially for a solo founder, you have no one to be like, hey, I'm going through this thing and it's really hard. Like and
Yeah.
it wasn't like I wasn't transparent with my co-founders. They knew what was going on, but it was like, I still have to be confident in that, like, we're going to figure this out and I'm going to
Yeah.
figure this out. And that's hard. That's really hard to do.
Extremely difficult.
Yeah, that's
So
so hard.
anyway, I don't know.
So I think I know the answer to this because I've talked to a couple founders, but how accurate is that show Silicon Valley and the episodes of where they're raising capital and talking to GPs and I'm sure like some of it's like exaggerated, but just the character the guy's from Denver. I can't remember his name, but he's like, and he looks at one of the
Hey, hold
guys
on.
and he's like, somebody in this room is the least attractive person I have ever seen.
There's crazy stories.
I
Like, for
laughed
example,
so hard. I was like crying.
oh,
laughing,
Ehrlich.
but-
Are you thinking of
Yes,
Ehrlich Bachman?
yes. He's a beauty. He's an absolute beauty.
Okay,
Other
okay,
than
look.
the whole, what came out about him, but
I mean, the shows is uncannily like very similar to the world out here. Obviously, it's not like exact, but I honestly think like after watching the whole thing, and it's such a great show. Like it's so
It's
good.
so
I would
awesome.
rewatch it. Oh, now I'm looking at the character list. Like Jin Yang, he's oh my god.
yeah.
Jin Yang is like the funniest fucking guy. Like he's so funny.
Have you seen it,
Um,
Connor?
No, I haven't.
You
I
haven't seen Silicon Valley? Are you
Homework.
No.
kidding me?
Okay, so Charlie, you have to watch Harry Potter, and Connor, you have to watch
Silicon Valley. I'm on it. I'm on
Okay.
it.
All right. All right. So when we're all together, we'll watch like one episode of Silicon
We
Valley. I'm
should.
telling
We
you
should.
that show is
It's pretty on
written-
point, unfortunately.
It's written by the guy that did Beavis and Butthead. Like
Oh,
way,
oh my
way
god, I
back.
Is
didn't
it?
know that.
Mike
I didn't know
Judge, yeah.
that. That's so
I mean,
cool,
I love
actually.
Beavis and Butthead, but
It's
that's
not
childish
that kind of
humor. in me.
but I'm telling you, it is so funny. It is so the writing is unbelievable.
What I was gonna say though, like in terms of like some of those fundraising scenes and just how obnoxious they really are, I think there's some level of that happening. It's not like normal, but I'm thinking of the dude. It was at FTB, the CEO that ran that crypto company that would like completely went under. And he went to jail. What's his name?
Yeah, Sam
What the-
something.
Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF.
Yeah,
Sorry.
SBF. Yeah.
But there's actual sort of stories around how he would be in like VC meetings and he would be not looking at the camera. He'd be playing League of Legends.
Yeah, he'd be playing a game. Yeah, and the guy's
What?
like,
Yeah,
"Oh my
yeah.
god, that's amazing!" That guy.
So he's
like,
playing League of Legends the whole time, and he's hardly like
Yeah.
he's talking, right? But he's just like, "Go fuck yourself." Like I'm like having a half conversation with you while I'm playing League of Legends. And like he secured funding. You know what I mean? So like there are those ridiculous stories out there, like Sans.
It's like Mallory going out there and playing Roblox while being like, yeah, all right, give me some.
Are you kidding me?
Just bullying kids.
That's wild, man.
I wouldn't. I'm not. Look, not to play the gender card, but like I really wouldn't be able to do that. I don't think I could get away with that the way that he did. That shit happens, but I don't. That's not the norm. I wouldn't say that's like, happening all the time. But yeah, he did. That did happen. So there's some amount of just like, I don't know, maybe like bullshittery of just like happening.
Yeah.
Exactly. To like get just a crazy check. It happens, and it happens to even first-time founders that like just came out of college and they all of a sudden raised $50 million just coming out of thin air. Like it happens. So, and I'm not saying that was just like bullshittery. It's more so that like, yes, you can get fundraising as a first-time founder. Yes, there are asshole founders out there that have such a massive ego and that people think are geniuses, right? Because like they're doing this while they're pitching and we're gonna like invest in that. Like just dumb shit is what I'm saying. Yeah. But that's not the norm. That's not the norm. So
I'm going to literally be thinking about Jin Yang for the rest of the day and how fucking funny.
He's so fucking funny.
Oh my god!
Now I need to rewatch the show. Maybe
Connor, we're definitely watching that show when we all get together.
I mean, I love a good show.
It is so funny.
I'm all for it.
It is so funny. Anyways, okay.
Anyways.
Back to this. So your pitch changed with each angel investor in general. So let's say you have somebody nibbling and they offer you like would the terms change? Let's say you offer 10% for 200,000. Let's just say like was there an aspect of going back and forth like negotiations were some just like hard asses and wouldn't negotiate? Were there any like hard closes when anybody just try and snap your hands off and just like do it, or like what was that process like?
I'm thinking it was kind of different for a lot of founders, but for example, Matt Prince, like Kevin just slid into his DMs and gave him a mini pitch, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'll give you guys 100K." Like that's
quick
not
as that?
normal.
Like, yeah,
literally, really? He did not take a meeting with us. He did not take a meeting with us.
Do you get all the money at once, or meetings. Is it in like monthly staunches?
No. It's all at once. It's all at once.
Okay.
And so technically, I always tell founders like it's not real until the money hits your bank account.
Exactly.
Like, until then,
it
ain't real. You do not close. Even when they sign the contract, like until it's in your bank account, it is not real.
That's with agencies too. Like
totally. It's with fundraising.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Exactly.
You're right. It's not a real client
until
they're paying you money, right?
Yeah,
so it's kind of very similar to fundraising. But like that's an example of like that. Once again, that is not common. Most investors aren't just going to be like, it just depends. It depends on who you are, how connected you are with them, how much they believe in you, right? Like all of this stuff. But like that's an example of we had 0 meetings and we closed $100,000. Like, whereas like I'm thinking maybe with like even smaller checks, like maybe I would close a $25,000 check with someone in our network, and it took me 3 meetings, to really sort of sell them on the team, on the idea, on the potential. And I'd kind of just like, as we would go through more meetings, there'd be more questions around like usually marketing, who we're targeting, how we plan to make money in the future, right? Even though it's not a thing right now because we don't even have a product. Like those are the types of questions that would kind of be asked as we continued to kind of get further in the meetings. But I mean, in terms of closing, like I'd have the meeting, send the follow-up email as quickly as possible with the term sheet. So the safe note, like, I would try to send, so they have an idea of what the term sheet looks like.
Nice.
Yep. With the term sheet. And if I didn't hear from them, it would be like I'd offer another meeting, right? Or a call to go over it. I like a follow-ups, like pitch deck, term sheet, like, let me know what you're thinking. We are accepting, check sizes from this to this, just getting it like anywhere between $25,000 to $100,000 are the check sizes that we're accepting, right? So just kind of giving them a range and giving them more information and sort of give them a little bit of time to think about it. And then usually they're like, cool, like put me in for 50K, right? And then I'd send them a DocuSign, they'd sign that thing and like they'd wire the money. So it was pretty seamless, especially with angels. Like it's So yeah, anywhere between 0 to like maybe 3 meetings. But honestly, Charlie, like most of them were like I'd close them in the first meeting.
Mm.
So most of them was like one meeting, sent them the pitch deck, sent them the term sheet, and
Yeah.
then they would be locked in. So usually about a meeting and an email is really all it took
That's
to
it, huh? Cool.
a meeting,
Cool.
email, a really great pitch deck. They did appreciate pitch decks even really early on, and yeah, depends. But then I would interview, or when I had with one of the VCs that we talked to, I think I was on like meeting 4 or 5, and then in between those meetings, I would update them. I'd be like, "Ooh, we just
Oh,
launched our
yeah, yeah.
beta. Ooh,
Dope.
we just did this," right?
Hmm.
So like
Yeah.
they're not closed yet, not even close, but
Tell them the
I'm
sizzle. Yeah.
giving them updates. They're not asking for them, but
Yeah.
I'm sending them to them,
You
right?
think
So
that's
they
more of like
know.
was that more of like a sales tactic for you to
Yeah.
be like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
like we're
Yeah.
moving,
I
and
used
if
to do
we
100%.
that.
don't do now, like you're
I
gonna
used to do
100%.
that at the
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the magazine. I remember I closed this big Maryland tech company, and she was awesome. She was a lawyer, and it was right before Halloween. And she's very like just like a big personality. She's great to talk to, but she kind of ghosted us for a little bit. She was asking. I remember from the first conversation, she would ask what we were being for Halloween, and then I didn't hear from her, but I had her cell phone number, so I texted her a picture of the magazine, and then our CEO was Batman, so he had on
Yeah.
like the Batman costume, like just to stay in front of him. And then she texted me back. She's like, "Oh my God, that's great! Like you guys are how awesome you guys." Oh yeah, I need to get back to you. And then like a couple days later,
Yep.
like we
There you
closed the
go.
deal.
That
So
makes
it's
sense.
just it's such like a sales tactic, and like
It really is. And then
sell
making
the
sure too,
sizzle
like
is like what
sell the sizzle.
I'm
Yeah.
really hearing here is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
which goes back to
Um,
you have to be able to sell not just yourself but your
100%.
product and your
Yeah.
team.
And when you're in these meetings, do not just talk to them for like 20 minutes. Like if you just talk at them the whole time, eyes glaze
Oh,
over,
are
right?
you asking like questions? Are
Oh
you
my
like
God.
getting them involved in it? Like,
Yes. Getting them involved and asking them the right questions and making sure like I speak a little bit to it and pause. And because like if you talk at them for 20 minutes, they're really not going to engage. Like I really feel like they're not going to engage.
I would think
I feel like that's with anything like that,
It
right?
yeah,
is, it is,
You
but
know,
you know, if you're an
I would
early stage founder and you
but
don't
for
know
that
some of this
specifically,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
think too, like at some point, this is just what I would do, and I learned to do this while selling my sales job. Is like you get to a point where you're not selling them; they should be selling you. Like you want to flip the script on them, flip the dynamics of like, look,
Yeah.
we're almost oversubscribed. We have this, we're in this, we have these investors.
Exactly.
Why should you be
Exactly.
involved? Like I'm giving you an opportunity to get like
Yeah.
a 20x back on
Yeah.
$1 to me. So who are you? What's your background? What can you do?
Yep.
I would be grilling them. But
Yeah.
I say
No,
I
no, no. You're
never
100% right.
I've never done
No,
it before, but I think that's where my brain would go
I think
after a certain
that
amount of
is
time.
right. And I think that's, and having that confidence as a founder and walking into a room like that, I think is imperative. So I think that's spot on, to be honest with you. Because they can smell.
I'm sure
They
they can.
really can. Because once again, they've seen thousands of pitch decks.
Yeah.
They've talked to
Yeah.
thousands of founders. Like they know how this works. So not just engaging with them and making sure you craft your pitch to them, but you know,
Yeah.
also doing that I think is really important. So, and I feel like it's common sense to some extent, but like for those that haven't gone through this process, I think it's just good to remember. But yeah, that's with anything. Like don't don't just talk
Yeah.
at someone
Yeah.
for 30 minutes. Like it doesn't matter what kind of meeting it is, right? Like it's never gonna go well, I think. People aren't going to be engaged, I guess
Yeah.
is really what it is. So, yeah.
I think as we wrap up here, do you have any advice, just overall advice, maybe on investors to look for, how to judge market conditions, or just ongoing investor calls, like handle any of that? Just any advice in general on raising? Because again, I say, well, like, wouldn't it be easy just to flip it down? Yeah, well, I've never fucking done it, so okay.
Yeah.
Don't sound easy.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. Although looking back, like I was extremely stressed out. I was not taking care of myself. Like I remember my health kind of being at its lowest during these times because it was just is intense. And then
Yeah.
the anxiety of like maybe raising, maybe not raising. Is your business going to die? Is it going to continue? Whatever. Like I think I struggled with that. But my number one advice would be to really embrace resiliency, really embrace failure. I mean, you're going to get so many no's. You're going to get so many no's, and you have to embrace that instead of being like, oh, this is like such a but. You have to embrace that because it is a part of the process. You're going to get 100 no's until you get that one yes. Sometimes it is like that. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes founders raise easier than others. It's right. Like there's no one perfect way to go through this process, but I do think that for you to win, you need to have as much resiliency as possible. So really embracing the failure. I truly, and that goes with just building a startup in general and not just fundraising, but I say it about fundraising because it's a very specific process. It is really kind of like for some founders a make or break on whether or not they're going to be able to continue running their company. Like it's very intense, especially if you have employees. I can't tell you how many founders have like 50 employees and they're like not like they're making some money, but they still need a fundraise and they can't get it. And it's like, they may have to shut down their company and fire 50 people in a month. And I've talked to founders like that, and it sucks. It's really hard, right? And thankfully, I wasn't in a position like that. But even if I was, like, you have to embrace no's, you have to embrace failure because otherwise you're not going to be able to get through it. But what is on the other side of that, even if you say you fail through the fundraising process, is that you are now so much more resilient as a founder. And now you have that experience that most people don't even get the privilege of going through. So even though it's difficult and challenging and anxiety ridden, like you're going to be stronger for it. So yeah, that's my advice.
And last question here. When you were raising, you got your first deal. What did you guys do like that first like Friday night?
It's like being on drugs. Like it's just like no, because it's exhilarating. It's fucking exhilarating to be like we're getting $100,000 check.
Yeah,
and it hit the bank.
You're like, oh,
what the
fuck?
This was just an idea 6 months ago, and now I just was able to do this. Like, I mean, it like pure euphoria. Like I remember cutting some of our first checks, and I'd be driving back from the office. We got like a tiny shoebox office, so I could work with one of my co-founders in person. And I was just blasting the music. I was driving fast. I was like, I'm the fucking shit. This is the best. Like, I mean, truly, like my ego was like, here, I won't lie. But I was like, this is fucking awesome. So I just remember, celebrating with our co-founders too. We went to one of them. I think we went to Disney, and then we like did a in-person retreat, but like they were also really excited. And I just remember coming back from pitch meetings, being in a solo booth and being like, guys, I think we just closed another 50,000. I think we just closed another 25,000. Like awesome. I cannot believe this. Right. Yeah, so that's dope. Just, I mean, pure excitement. And this is what founders say when like the highs are highs and the lows are lows. This is an example of like the fucking highs are highs. Even if I didn't raise my total amount, like the checks are coming through, the money's coming through, like this is momentum. This is real. This is happening. Right.
It's just the reality of it. Like, hey, I have an idea. People are aligned with it and willing to put money down for
I
it.
can't believe people believe in me in this way. What a fucking privilege it is for people to be like, wow, I believe in you and what you're doing. It really truly is like an amazing feeling. So just like it probably is when you get your first few customers or you get your first few dollars through as a business, like, but there is something pretty crazy about like, we just closed $100,000 check, guys. Like,
that's
on a pitch deck.
That's alpha.
On a Twitter DM. On a Twitter DM.
Did you bully him? Did you bully him into the 100K, or is it like a
no, hell no. I mean, well, I had a few. I had one. Matt Prince did not need to be bullied. My co-founder handled that. And then I think there was the other one with our 100K check that we got was not as easy. We had to have, even though I worked with him, he knew me deeply. Like we had to go through a bunch of meetings, and he had to go talk to Kevin and Zach, my two co-founders, to be like, are they in this? Are they serious about this? Or are they just like wanting to do this? Right. So, even though there were some folks that were like, I'm going to give you 100K, but like there was a lot more work that had to be put into it for us to get that 100K versus some other folks. And that's how it is. So
it is. Well, cool.
Oh man. Now I'm like, I feel the high right now. My body feels like I just closed $100,000.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Love those deals.
So
okay.
funny.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Thanks, Mallory. That was super insightful. So
good stuff.
Hope it was helpful.
Again, I've never done it.
I had no clue how to even like how it goes, how to start it, any of it. So that was awesome. Super educational.
Thank you. And like I said, this was my experience. It's not all cut and dry. There's no
Sure.
one way to do it. And I'm really excited because, like I said earlier, we are going to have a bunch of guests and, the next few months and it would be great too, Charlie, for us to have some founders because I know we have some VCs and angel investors coming on, but it would be great to chat with some later stage founders too to talk about like what the fundraising process is like, Series A and beyond, what
Yeah.
having a board is like what
Yes.
things that like I can't
Okay.
really share, but like would be really interesting. Even though I know we have a lot of early stage founders listening to this, I think it'd be great for them to get an understanding of like, okay, if you raise with VCs and have a Series A and beyond, this is what that experience is
Expect
going to be
that.
like. Here's
Yeah.
the reality of what to expect. And do you want that responsibility? Yes or no? So I
Yeah.
think we
Good
should do
shit.
that too.
That's a good call.
Um,
Let's do it. Cool, cool. All right. We will be back. Well, this is the interview portion of the show. So next week we'll be back with a guest. I can't remember who, but it's a good one.
Sylvia,
Oh,
Sylvia.
Sylvia,
Okay.
yes.
So next week we have
She's a
Sylvia Veda
boss.
Lopez, who I mentioned earlier, was an investor and advisor. Also, actually, I brought her on as advisor at Bolt. She's early Canva, like she was an exec at Canva, early Pinterest. Like she really understands the consumer market. She's building her own company right now, which is exciting, especially in the AI space. And
Sick.
she did a whole sort of 2026 predictions, a few articles on it at the end of last year. And so I'm really excited to kind of hear about what she thinks of the AI space this year and what that's going to look like and her experience as a founder and what she's going through right now. But I think she'll be great. I think she'll be great.
Awesome. Cool, cool. All right.
Hey guys, Connor here with Builders Growth Lab. If you're looking for a way to stay up to date on the latest news, trends, topics in AI and marketing, look no further. Visit us at buildersgrowthlab.ai and sign up for our newsletter today. In it, you'll find quick takeaways from our latest show, as well as simple tips on how to market your app. That's buildersgrowthlab.ai. Sign up today.
All right. Mallory, good stuff. Great insight on and great stories on just raising capital and yeah, just doing badass shit. That's
Mallory is a badass.
yeah.
We knew
how
that from
cool is
day
that?
one. We knew it from day one that Mallory was a badass.
No, you guys are the best. This is all I'm gonna take
No
this in
surprise.
because this is the non-bullying moment, and I really appreciate it. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, I think I called you a honey badger. First time we
I didn't know that actually. That's funny.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll take it.
No,
Take
good
it.
stuff. Just what it's like what it's like talking to angels, talking to VCs, how it's different, managing a cap table,
I'm not gonna
expectations.
lie. I knew it was intense. I just didn't realize it was that like labor intensive.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that
honestly
time
like
intensive.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
time
it's
intensive.
time
Yeah.
intensive, and then I think like, and I'm obviously joking, but to some extent that like talking about that brought back some PTSD. I was like, oh my God. I was like,
You had both. You had some PTSD, and then you had a real high when you
I
remembered
know.
the
Man.
checks that would
I know,
that you
and
get to the bank.
I know, you're right. They all exist, right? Like, but
The roller coaster.
yeah, truly,
Good
truly
stuff. Good stuff.
cool.
All right. One of my favorite parts. This might be my favorite segment. Poopy
What?
pants.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
the poopy
Yeah.
pants. So, what is it that really just pissed you off? Just gave you poopy pants? Maybe you get crabby or whatever it is, and it's the perfect time too because it's just after the holidays.
I know.
So, Mallory, what is it?
Okay,
Past
well, a few
couple
things.
weeks, we'll say
A few
that
things. I
put
do
poop
not.
in your pants.
Mallory's so ready. She's been waiting for this. She's got so much. I can tell. She's like, I got a
Well,
few things.
some things have nothing to do with this podcast. Like, if you're gonna say you're a luxury resort and you're a 1-star resort, then
Oh.
like
Ooh, was that Cancun?
that was. And I just
Oh.
wrote a 1-star review last night at like 11. I was like,
Oh yeah.
and I'm not like that.
Was it
I
like
really
a
am
full
not.
Oh, I'm like
dissertation?
that.
If you
Are
look
you?
at my Yelp reviews,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
used to be a Yelp leader, you could definitely make fun of me for this. I used to be in like the Yelp Elite program, and like I write
Wow.
reviews, and like I really am
Like a
positive
local
reviewer.
guide, like type thing.
Yes, like a
Yeah.
local guide type
Okay.
thing. And I got to be in their program, and I got to get invited to all these restaurants and events. And I hardly write negative reviews. Like I really don't. But like this is like one of those situations where I'm like, everything that went wrong. And like I'm writing this review and I'm shitting all over them. So I felt a little bad about that, but it felt very therapeutic. But if you say you're a luxury resort and you're not, I will write a bad review about it. So, and we don't need to get into the details of what that looks like. But there's that. Another thing that gives me poopy pants Well, two other things. Well, three. Okay, so one, when people are slow to make decisions.
Okay, so you're impatient. All right. I am very
I know.
impatient.
I'm so
I am
impatient. I'm
I'm
working on it this
all right.
year for 2026.
Maybe
Like, look at
that's
me.
my
I'm like,
opener. Mallory, you're the bully. Connor, you're the degenerate. I'm the impatient guy, the impatient ass.
but I really hate it. I
You're
mean,
impatient, Charlie?
Oh, I'm
Oh,
like
I never would have figured that.
I remember like the first time we talked to Mallory, and Mallory's like, "Yeah, this is we obviously weren't recording. This is before she was a guest." She's like, "Yeah,
yeah.
this is great, great." And then Mallory's like, "Why don't we, yeah, we'll just start with an episode." And I'm like, "What the fuck? No, like, like to me, it's like either a fuck yes or it's a no." So I thought she was, and you know, I've gotten better. I don't think I've ever told you that, by the way.
No, you haven't. But no, I thank you for telling me. I mean, I appreciate it. Yeah, and it's
Maybe
funny because I'm like, I make decisions really quickly, and you're like, no, you don't, because that's not what I experienced with you. But I promise you, I really do. I really am like, I don't like to take long to make decisions. Like if
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy this thing, I'm
I'm the
buying
same
it
way.
like in 10
Yeah,
minutes.
like
And
I'm,
I don't do
yeah,
extensive research. I don't like it's like when I know what I want it, I just fucking go after it.
yeah.
And like my husband, for example, I love him, but like he just takes forever to make a decision. So I'm just like,
Yeah, indecisiveness kills me when it comes to like
I can't stand it.
what I want
just
to eat. Like,
cannot
what do we
yes,
want
even
to
that.
order for delivery tonight? Like, that's where I get poopy pants. It's like, because
I know.
my wife she'll just go through Grubhub and she's like, I don't know, maybe this. And then I'm like, pizza. I love pizza. And she's like, oh, no, that doesn't sound good. I'm like, tacos? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to eat for the next hour because I'm just, everything I mention is no. And then she'll be like, an hour later, she's like, what about pizza? And I'm like,
I know.
pizza it is. Let's do pizza.
I know. It's the worst. And I like making the decisions. So very much so. Like there are times where I make decisions and my
You
husband's like,
bully
well, I
him
feel like
into it.
left out. Like you don't
Yeah.
even, I'm like, well, like you didn't want to like try and be active in it. So like I just made the decision for us. But like that's what I'm trying to work on this year is like sitting in the indecisiveness, not like for me, but if other people are feeling that way and like being accepting it. And anyways, I don't know how much of a poopy pants that is, but like I really am, I don't like indecisive people and I don't. And so Charlie, when I was thinking about that at the time, like I wanted to join the podcast, but I'm like, is the dynamic between the three of us good?
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah, yeah.
even met you fucking guys.
Right,
I don't
right.
even, I'm like,
Well,
maybe I'm not a
thank
good fit.
God.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm not a good fit and you guys aren't going to like it. So I'm like, that was my mind. I was like, I want to do this, but like, let's just do this first episode and see how
Yeah.
it goes. And if it goes well, let's do it. But I see what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did bully you to get on.
Last thing. Okay, so because I was gone for break, I was in LA, I was in Cancun, I've been driving everywhere. I come back into San Francisco yesterday and I'm so grateful to be home. But the second I cross the Bay Bridge and I'm in the city, it's like your MCP can be supported by this API billboard and this like all these billboards and I'm like this shit
right
makes
back to it.
no sense. And I'm like, I'm right back to it. And then I get pissed immediately. So my husband's driving, we're almost home. We're so excited to be home. And I'm just like, fuck that billboard, fuck that other billboard. He goes, what are you saying? I'm like, they make no sense. Like, yes, I know there's engineers here. They're going to read this. And they're like, but I'm like, it just bugs me. I don't know why. When they're like billboards are created that like only one niche audience will understand and nobody else understands it. And it triggers me. So anyways, okay. I think my pants are full of poo now. So
there you go. Mallory's pants are full.
They're full. I can't shit in anymore. So like that's
out.
all the poops I have for today.
Right.
But
Charlie, what about you? What's really, I mean, obviously the indecisiveness, you're impatient.
Yeah, I think that just comes from being in sales. Just like to me, like okay, not to go too far into that, but as a sales professional, you get ready for a pitch, you answer all the questions. Okay, do we have a deal? I'm like, oh well, no, I don't know. I just have to think about what the fuck is there to think about? I just told you everything you need to think about. Like,
I love that because I'm the same way.
yeah, exactly. Like, where the fuck? So then I started. Like, here's what happened: is I started each calls, and it's weird because I got answers straight on that first call with a scheduled call with a decision maker. Of this is not what gives me poopy pants. I'm going on a tangent, but I would say, okay, thanks for taking the time. Awesome. Okay, cool. Here's who we are. Here's what we do. Here's why it might make sense. And by the end of this call, let's not do, I'll think about it. Let's make a decision. You can say no, I'm an adult, I can take it. Or you say yes, we move forward and we'll have steps available. But we're not going to do, I want to think about it because I'm going to give you all the information you have. You know your budget. You have the number in your head. You have all the information of it. Let's just make a decision right now. I think that's where it came from.
Oh man,
So,
that's a nightmare for me. You would hate me. You would hate
really,
me
as
because
a sales
yeah, dude.
professional?
Because I'm just like
Oh,
I gotta
I'd probably
kind of
just
like
hang.
think
I would
about
call your
it.
competitor like the moment I
Wow.
got off the phone.
Wow.
I couldn't. Oh my gosh, that drive me bananas.
Like that see, so you know what? Like my poopy pants is when a salesperson gives me an ultimatum. Like that drives me
I actually
absolutely bonkers. Where
okay.
it's like, well, it's yes or no, and it's yes or no right now. It's like, yo, it's like I'm giving you my business. Like, who
Exactly.
are
So
you to tell
stop
me
trying
yes
to
or no?
intensely sell me.
I
Like
actually, I maybe okay.
I get that.
I
Chris.
get it.
I
I get
do
the
get what you're saying.
I get the
I
tactic,
kinda
and it'll
like-
probably work a lot. But for someone like me, who's just like, I also have I have a short temper.
Well,
and
like
I just-
someone who's trying to intensely sell me a timeshare or something, I'll be like,
Really?
go fuck
Okay.
yourself. Like, I don't want to hear.
Well,
No.
unless you give me a free massage and something else, like sure, I'll do
all right.
timeshare, a little walkthrough, like whatever.
Yeah,
fine.
Tyler's got
yeah.
a short wick. Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
Wow.
You didn't know
We're
that?
You
No.
guys, we're learning so much about each other
Oh
with this
gosh,
segment.
man. I have just short tolerance for shit from
bullshit?
people. Yeah, for bullshit. Like
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
but I
You know
will say
what?
to
I was just gonna say, I think that comes with age, but I could be wrong. You tell me.
it could
What do you
be. I think it's like, yeah, maybe because more so like when I first started, agency, that's, very boutique agency I have. It's still young, but maybe 4 or 5 years ago, if I had a client, he'd be like, well, I don't know if potential client, like, I don't know if I like this. Can you adjust it? Can you do this or that? I do everything under the sun to be like, please, I just want to sign a client, right? I just want another one on my roster.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, I don't know about this. Can you like break this out? And I'm like, no, it's like, it's this or it's that or nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't say it like that, obviously. So, but yeah, I think over time I've just gotten less apt to want to be flexible with certain things. And it's like,
Yeah.
because it's just
Yeah.
a waste of time, especially
That's,
because the type of people who do that are the worst type of people to
They're
work
the
with.
lowest paying
I agree.
clients too.
Yep, and they're the lowest paying, and they'll always
Yep.
penny pinch you where they can.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like,
Yeah. Okay, so that leads into what puts poop in my pants. We've been lucky enough to work with great clients. We have been for the past couple of years, but just bad clients. It's always the ones that pay the least that gives you the most headache.
Yeah.
That gives me poopy pants. Luckily we're having to deal with it for a bit. I was getting coffee. I'm not a Starbucks. Well, I guess I am. I guess I'm forced to be Starbucks just because there's
That
a
gives
Starbucks.
me poopy pants that you're
Oh, really?
Starbucks. Okay, continue.
Well, there's one just like 5 minutes over there. So, and it's a drive-through. So it's really convenient. It's not that I like their coffee. It's just convenient, and
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It puts something in my stomach early in the morning. Before like 7 a.m. I can go to the gym, whatever. When people don't pay attention in line. And they're just dicking around on their phone, and it's
that gives me poopy pants.
I'm the asshole that has. Hey, can you move up so I can order? Like I'm the asshole when I have to like roll down the window, and I don't come across like an asshole when I say that. But like, hey, can you move up? Can you just?
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I am. Yes, because the first time I did it, I meant to be an asshole, but then I was like, oh, that's.
I feel like you could so intently be an asshole if you really want to be. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. We've heard enough stories, have we not?
Yeah.
Also, you know what? Maybe it's just me. Okay, that brings me another. Okay, so this is my next poopy.
Love this segment.
This is my favorite. It's so good.
Pant point is that if I'm walking around in like a grocery store or a restaurant, I walk down the right side of the walkway, not the left, right? Because you drive on the right side of the street. So is it weird that like, am I the asshole if there's somebody walking down and they're on the opposite side? Like,
I mean, what are you
gonna do? What are you doing though? Are you like pushing them? Are you shoving?
I'm not gonna.
Or are you like?
I'm just picturing Charlie at Shanahan's, just like, get out of my way.
Get the fuck out of my way.
No, like, most of the
kidding.
time, like at grocery stores, like they're looking up and like.
No, I get it. Actually, can I say something?
I walk around them, but
I get poopy pants when people walk slow. Like I am one of those people.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people. It fucking
That's just
drives
a big
me.
city thing, I think, too.
I know, but it's everywhere. I'm like, every time people are so fucking slow. I'm just like, I will do anything I can just to get around them, and I'm probably an asshole for that, and I realize that. I'm
What
aware.
about the
I,
people who
I
like
do
But
don't
that.
walk straight either, and
weird.
they would walk diagonally and then
I have
kind
a
of like
friend
move
like that. He
around, and I'm
walks like
like,
sideways. It's so weird.
oh, that gets
We
me
give him so much
so
shit, dude.
bad.
It's so funny. It's okay. So, by the way, back to
So
my
I get
question.
your point. I get your point, Charlie, is
Am
what I'm
I the
saying.
asshole for wanting to think it's
No,
like socially norm to walk down the right side of an
no,
aisle or a
no.
walkway or
In the US, I think it's normal, but then again, when you're international and there are different ways to
yeah,
drive on
that's
the roads, that's different. But like
yeah.
here in the US, I do like on sidewalks or
Yes, or
hiking
the
paths,
gym or
the
something or like
gym,
yeah.
like I do expect for people to be like, because otherwise it just feels like, you're just running into me. So I understand the frustration, to be honest with
Yes.
you.
Okay, so you understand where
Yeah.
the
I don't think you're an
poop
asshole for it.
poop
I don't
comes
think you're
from.
an asshole for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That
get it.
fucking
I
drives
get
me
it.
batty
Yeah.
when that
Yeah.
happens.
I'm starting to realize we have a lot more in common than I thought, Charlie. So, and I don't know if
When
I
it,
should be
when it
scared
comes
or
to
if that's a
poopy
good
pants,
thing.
you guys have a
I,
lot in
ooh.
common. A lot of the same things piss you guys off.
Connor,
Oh,
what puts poop in your pants?
Oh
yeah.
man, I don't know. So much stuff. There's so much. What's my poopy pants of the week though? Oh man, I fucking hate. I cannot stand poor support from okay, so Uber. Absolutely worst support in the entire world. Like I use the app all the time, a few times per week, right? And you kind of at this point you kind of just have to,
Yeah.
right? It's
Is it
Uber,
more
Lyft,
for
whatever.
food or for
I use it for
rides?
both. So in this
Okay,
case,
me
this
too.
was a food, right? So like I
All right.
ordered food, came, and it's missing like three items, right? And I'm like, okay, so you know how they usually have
That
like I'll
that drives me
select the three items that
nuts.
are missing, you'll refund
Yep.
me. I
Yeah.
select the three items that total like 30 bucks. And they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry for the inconvenience. We're going to give you a $2 credit." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, and the problem is what it really is giving me poop pants, and it kind of leans into the AI stuff. It's all so automated at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
You can't ever get a real person
Yeah.
on. And it got to the point where I'm like, I just have to claim this as fraudulent on my bank account now. And I have to go
Yeah.
through all of those steps and like make sure because it's like the restaurant doesn't pick up. They don't want to take responsibility. Uber doesn't want to
Call the
take
driver.
responsibility. It's like, right. And it's like
Yeah.
this big circle where I've now wasted an hour of my day and my life and my time that I'm never getting back to
That's
what?
bullshit. You should have
Yeah.
not gotten a $2 credit back.
It
Like you should
was
have absolutely, and it was easier in the past.
insane.
You're right, Connor. Like it was
You got
easier to
no
be like,
refund?
hey, we didn't get this stuff. So you just get an automatic refund and you actually hear from them really quickly. It used to be like that.
It used to be like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so like it's just and it's not even Uber. Like I'm dealing with it with I bought a brand new laptop for Christmas for myself,
Oh.
right? It's like nice,
Yeah.
fancy, really great laptop. And Microsoft is like, we'll give you a $600 rebate when you purchase it, but you have to buy it first and then send your receipt in.
Yeah.
But you don't send it into Microsoft, you send it into a partner of theirs who validates it and gives you money back. And they never they never got my receipt for it. Like they're not giving me the $600 back. And it's like, I bought your laptop with the expectation that
Yeah.
I would get $600 back. And now you're telling me I can either return the entire laptop, pay for the shipping for it, not get all my money back. And it's like
That's bullshit.
customer support
Yeah, that's
has gotten
So
just
bad.
so
You know
bad.
what? So I came out with my 2026 predictions article at the end of last year, right before Christmas Eve. And it's interesting that you say this because one of my predictions is talking to a human is going to be a premium experience. Just because, like, what you said, Connor, with all the rise of AI customer service, people are just like, I want to talk to a person. So I think you're going to start to see things like sites that say, support is ran by a real person, please be kind, or like handwritten notes or whatever it may be. But like, I do hope to see a swing in like human-based customer service because
I would
it's
hope so.
so bad.
I would
Like,
hope so.
anyways, I think that's going to be a thing.
It's so bad. Listen, and the outsourcing is one thing when you just are trying to
Sure.
have AI run it all. Like it's
Yeah.
a totally different ballgame where it's like I can't even get to somebody if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And it's like this big loop because now you're just stuck. So again, if I want to go
Yeah.
to Chase and tell Chase that it's fraudulent because I didn't get it, then I need to talk to someone from them, but it's mostly automated and they need receipts. And it's like, guys, like
Yeah,
like,
it's
what's
really,
going
it's
on
really,
here?
it's
Yeah.
really shitty that bad customer support is now the norm.
yeah.
So I
That's
really
shitty.
hope, because then it makes me never want to buy a product from you again. I never
Yeah.
want to, which is hard, Connor, to your point, because it's like Uber is one of like the only like delivery/driving apps, right? So it's like you don't really have a lot of choices. But
Yep.
I
It
went through
really
that.
makes me never want to buy products again
Yeah.
when I go through situations like that.
That
went
is
through
like,
that.
and,
Fuck
and it's
off.
happened with Uber before where I'm like, I'm deleting the app and I delete it. And then it's like, I'll use Lyft and it's like
Yeah.
price gouging, right? Because it's New Year's Eve. And I'm like, this is wild. And that is so, it's
Yeah.
just difficult. You can't escape it. So hopefully
Yeah.
it's something that's figured out. But that's
I,
I took one big poopy pants today. All right. I took one topic and did one big poopy pants.
No, that's great. It's just
I
a
went
large dump. You know what I mean?
It's a large freaking dump, right?
Well,
A
I went through
dump
that same exact
right on
thing
Uber.
on Sunday night, Connor. The delivery driver. By the way, talk about first world problems, bitching about.
I
food
know
being
this is really
delivered.
like
I know.
like
I know we
Yeah.
are. I know. I mean, like, look, that's the segment,
Yeah.
like to some extent.
Oh
like,
my gosh, drove
it's
me
okay. But I'm
like,
with you.
I guess the food was dropped off, and then okay, well, I go to grab it, it's not there, and then I try and get a refund, and they're like, oh, call the delivery person. The delivery person doesn't fucking answer, and then talk to the restaurant. Well, they're not going to pick up. They don't care, whatever. But I think I did end up getting a refund, and I think it's because I think I don't know, but I think it's because the volume I've done with Uber Eats is so high. It's like
that's what you would
so
think.
So that you're like a
astronomical.
premium customer, so that you get
Like a
access to that.
members only, yeah. Because like during
Yeah.
COVID, and I that's like all I did while I was building. I
Yeah.
was learning to code and all that. It was just Uber Eats, Uber Eats, Uber Eats, and so they're like, yeah, okay, you can. But I basically tipped the driver for nothing to just. So he got free dinner. So he got paid to eat my food. It's basically what happened on Sunday night. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I did have poopy pants, but I got some refund back. But that's shitty. You didn't get yours because that'd drive me bonkers.
Yeah.
Freaking
Anyways.
bonkers.
Okay, that wraps up our poopy pants for the week.
We let it all out. Now
Yeah.
we're
Next
lighter
week-
because of it.
Next week will be fresh. Okay, as we closer to wrapping up here, instead of last week in AI, we're going to do last year in AI. And as I pull up the show outline here, to me, like I didn't even know this is a thing. I stumbled into vibe coding on GPT. We did an SEO forecaster that we use in our sales process. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing. Connor might have been one of the first people I told. To me, the biggest thing was vibe coding last calendar year. So I think it's fucking amazing. I think it is dangerous as well. I mean, Mallory, you have more experience than
Yeah. I
than
mean,
any
look,
of
like
us. Like, what are your thoughts on vibe coding?
in
Well-
the beginning of 2025, I didn't even know it was a thing. Like, that's how much it's grown in 12 months. Like, I
It was-
wasn't aware of what vibe coding was
Mhm.
back of January of last year. Like, and like these products just started coming to market. So you have to remember that, like, end of last year was when we end of 2024 into early 2025 was the
Mhm.
rise of vibe coding tools. So, which is crazy when you think about it, because like we're still in this like unknown, super new territory when it comes to vibe coding. But like, to be honest with you, did not expect to blow up the way that it did last year. And I don't have a really good reason for that. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, but I just didn't expect it. The explosion of that, and I almost wonder like what is that going to look like this year? Like, is there going to be other parts of AI that just absolutely explode in the consumer space? Like, what does that look like? But it was definitely unexpected. And then like I didn't know I'd even work in it. So like at the beginning of last year, like I was in a completely different company.
I mean, don't
So-
you think it just blew up so much for the fact that everyone really looks at it as like a time efficiency and cost saving thing
Yeah.
too, in some regard, right? Like, yes, you can
Yeah.
ideate, create your own app. You don't have dependency on developers and all this other stuff, right? But
But
at the end of the
building has
day-
become more democratized. I think there's
Yeah.
no doubt about that, but you're right, Connor. It saves a ton of time. It saves money. It saves resources. It saves it saves a lot of like different areas that I don't think we expected in the last 12 months, you know?
Yeah. at least as rapidly, right? Because I
Yeah.
remember beginning of 2025, I think it was maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months into it. And again, Charlie, it's like we had started talking about it. I had heard about it, watched a lot of videos, like Greg Eisenberg, like was like already in it.
Yeah.
But again, I just don't think people were really looking at it as a means to, again, kind of expedite projects, tasks, etc. It was just this very exploratory space, and it just so rapidly
Yeah.
evolved into what it is now, which is it's just
Um,
crazy how fast
I
it
think
has.
what will be interesting, because I think there's been a gap, like there's this threshold that most vibe coding tools have reached, which is great at projects, great at mockups, great at prototypes. But like, how do you then vibe code to a place or a scale in which like you're beyond a project or a prototype? You're really sort of managing your entire product via vibe coding. And that has already kind of happened, but I think those are smaller examples though, right? 'Cause to your point, Connor, and I would agree, most vibe coding tools are used for the mockups, the prototypes, the early stage projects, right? Like a very basic portfolio site, like things
Mhm.
that are a lot simpler to do versus, tasks or projects or products that are going to like require an ongoing of vibe coding. Like you're going to be forever vibe coding, right? And so
Yeah.
how do these companies create that amount of trust and innovation within their products this year to actually say like, because when I was at Bolt, that was the goal as I was leaving was like we're not just a vibe coding tool. We're not just a toy, but we want to become a product in which people are building scalable businesses, scalable products and companies and how to like so that's the direction for us, right? And it's not just for them. I think Lovable and a lot of other these vibe coding tools will
Mhm.
also be moving in this direction. And so
Yeah.
what that will look like from like a product perspective, will early stage founders trust that? I've know founders that, for example, they've raised on a prototype or mock-up from a vibe coding tool, but then afterwards, once they get that funding, they hire developers. They have to build their own
Mhm.
technology that's not wrapped in some vibe coding tool or what have
Yeah.
you, right? So
Yep.
It's not
how do
dependent.
these companies kind of move away from that or beyond that? I think will be really cool to see this year.
I think that is kind of like the next stage. We talk about a bubble a lot, and
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's critical to get off of those platforms. As cool as they are, Bolt's badass,
Yeah.
Lovable's freaking great,
Yeah.
Cursor, blah blah blah, all that. Um, okay, what are your guys' thoughts on there were layoffs while at the same time investing heavily in AI? Amazon,
It's
um,
Yeah.
almost expected to me,
IBM,
right? Like
Salesforce, Google, Oracle.
Yeah, it is. But then at the same time, I'm kind of questioning it because, like, I'm not convinced that we're at in a stage where AI is still going to replace so many of these jobs. Like, the work is still needs to get done, and it's interesting because I did my IRL meetup almost right before Christmas, and I remember talking to some women that came that work at Apple or work at bigger
Wow,
FANG companies, and they can't use anything. They can't use any amount of AI, right? Because
really?
obviously they can't share proprietary data into
Yeah,
these
yeah, that
LLMs.
makes
So they
sense.
they they don't even use AI tools, right?
wow.
So unless like Apple's building their own internal tool, right? And like then they
Hmm.
use it, right? But for the most part, a lot of these bigger companies are not using AI. And so to me, when I hear this, it feels like bullshit a little bit. It's like you're investing in AI and you're doing that, but like and you're firing people. And so maybe as you build these tools, it will get easier to do a lot of that work, but they're not even, it doesn't feel like they're ready for that yet. Just based on kind of the conversations I've been having. Because startups, everyone's embracing AI. You're like using it every day. And if you're not, you're like, what are
You
you
need to,
doing?
you're so far
You
Yeah,
behind.
have to, right?
yeah,
But with
Yeah.
these bigger companies, they're not embracing and using AI the way that we're using them at startups because
mhm,
of their proprietary data and information and
yeah.
and not wanting to like feed these LLMs that sort of data. So yes, I think they'll be building these internal tools, but I don't think a lot of it's ready yet. And I think that there will be a lot of layoffs, but then there will just be like, okay, this work still needs to get done. So how is it going to get done? And then we'll see this sort of like um, swing. And I don't think completely back to what it was like in the last 5 to 10 years, but I think we'll see a little swing of like, oh, like we laid off these people, but actually like we still needed a percentage of them to like do this work. And then they kind of rehire for some of them and not for all of them. But I can see that kind of happening if that, I don't know, maybe that's
No,
crazy.
that makes total sense to me, Mallory, because I think it's a good point. I just look at these companies as trying to stretch their workforce as thin as possible,
Yeah.
Mhm.
overwork them when and they can, which is a lot of the time based on, just things I read and look up on it, and taking that capital to invest in creating the automations and the AI that will support those people leaving. But now you have this who knows how long of a time frame where you just don't
Yeah.
have it there. So again, is it too long of a time frame where like shit, we need to bring some of these people back in to help support what AI can't do? Or are they just going to try and wait it out, use the capital towards research and investing into it to a point where it's actually replacing the people that they laid off? You
Right.
know, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We're gonna find out, right?
We have a
So,
we have a really good guest coming in a couple weeks. His name is John Chaney. He does enterprise level AI training,
mm,
and he a repeat guest. Great dude, avid mountain biker too. I guess he's like pretty good. But he would be a great guy to ask on what's coming up in 26. What are your
cool.
thoughts on AI layoffs and all that? Yeah, he's a big name in that. So
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you who have are listening to this and maybe you've gone through a layoff, I think that I've been talking to a lot of people on the side around how this is just such a great time to be a freelancer and a contractor. The reality is a lot of this work still needs to get done. And I think you'll see a lot of these companies still using contract and freelance work to get a lot of this stuff
mhm.
done. And so it is a great time to be a freelancer or contractor.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though that may be scary if you've never done that work before, it's a great time to do it.
Last point here. Uh, I think there was, with vibe coding, it's fresh, early in the year. I think the gloves came off, meaning toe to toe like fights with Lovable, Bolt, Cursor. Uh,
V
what's the comp?
Zero, Replit. I
Yeah,
saw Base
Replit.
44. There's so
Yeah.
many.
I only use a couple of those. I mean, as a consumer in such a new space, I thought it was cool to see these new companies that to me, I didn't really know the difference. Like to me, Lovable was more on design, Bolt was more technical. That's just what it came off
Mm,
to me.
sure.
Um, I like these new things coming out, these new like platforms, uh, but also I didn't really know the difference.
I
I
know.
think
Because,
it'll be interesting next year to see like, obviously OpenAI is raising a ton of freaking money, like doesn't even seem
yeah,
real
I
how much
saw that they
capital they're
were like,
raising.
I
Like
saw
like
rumors
what's
that they're
what's
trying to
next
buy
for these?
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't see that.
yeah, there's
Wow.
some rumors about it. I don't know how true it is, but I was just, and the reason why I say that is 'cause my TikTok feed is filled with just like the girlies being like, fuck you, OpenAI, do not buy Pinterest. Like, stay away from it. Like, we don't want your AI generated images all over
Yeah.
Pinterest.
AI slop all over it.
Like,
Yeah.
and I use Pinterest very, very much so because I like to curate content, use it for my Substack and make
Mm.
mood boards, especially as I'm a brand marketer. So I work with so many different founders in that way. And I see so much of that content already. So to like see a world where OpenAI buys it out and it's just more of that, like makes me to me on it, like that makes me sad. I don't want to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do. But I heard that was a rumor. So I do think that we'll probably see more of these companies buy out some of these legacy type of internet companies that have been around for a long time and have a
Hmm.
substantial amount of users, substantial amount of content and data that they
Hmm.
can, utilize for their LLMs and for their products. So, especially considering how much OpenAI has invested in image generation, like I think that's another thing. A lot, like generative AI has been around for a few years now, but I think in 2025 we saw the rise of just like generative AI content becoming actually like really fucking good. Like it is
Hmm.
becoming undistinguishable about around like what a real piece of like a real photo looks like versus something fake. And so I think that was also huge in 2025 too, like as a call out. And I know that there's a race, I think, when it comes to generative AI content in general,
Hmm.
and who can do it the best, right?
When you were at Bolt, was was Bolt like I picture the CEO, is it Eric?
Hmm.
Was
Yeah.
I picture like, this might be extreme, but I'm taking it from Silicon Valley of like you walk into Bolt's office and there's a picture of like Anton from Lovable
Oh
or
my
like a
God.
punching bag with his face on it or something like that. Is it like that? Not, maybe it's not
I
that
mean, it
extreme,
wasn't that. It wasn't that extreme. It
but
was
it
not
was
that
like,
extreme, but there was
but
definitely
they
like,
but they're going like toe to toe though, right?
yeah,
Like okay,
yeah,
and it's like
yeah,
okay,
yeah. I love Eric. I remember having to talk to him and be like, "Do you think this is the best use of your time? Do you think this is what's going to get us to being a multi-billion dollar company?" Because like I think that in 2025 we saw the rise of founder market based marketing, right?
yeah,
And not
yeah,
that that's
yeah.
never been a
That's
thing,
huge
but
with
we just
Lovable,
saw it
right?
explode. And
Yeah.
we did. It's not just Anton. It's actually a lot of their employees are
Elena.
super active on, and I think she's right. She came out with this whole like, if your employees are not building audiences, like then they're doing it wrong. And I actually think that's right. I did a lot of that at Discord. I mean, that's all I did at Discord. I was like I did a lot of marketing work, yes, but I was also kind of like a personal spokesperson for the company. And so that was really important for me to like build my X following and all this other stuff and talk about the company in a positive way. In a way that like makes the culture look super fun and engaging. I literally remember people are like, I came to work here because you did a vlog about the office and it was so fucking cool. And that's what got me to apply to this job, right? Like if you're not building an audience, then what are you doing? And so I think Elena's right in that. I think that's like one of the many strategies they're using to win. And I think it's working. And I think we're gonna see a lot more of that just, this year. But we saw a lot. I think the rise of that kind of content, like founder-based marketing, I think exploded last year for sure. So we'll see. We'll see what that looks like this year.
Okay. That wraps up episode 33, Builders Growth Lab podcast. We'll be back next week.
Nice to be like back together again, guys. Just want to say it.
Yeah,
really happy.
It was a good vibe. Look, I did an interview. She was great. She was awesome. She was freaking great.
I wish I was there.
She was
because we didn't have a woman on in a while too, and I was like, I can't wait to be a part of this.
Yeah, and she was awesome. She was funny. She was like obviously like super smart. But the dynamic just isn't the same. So
yeah.
Great
Well,
to have
I'm back,
y'all
guys. I'm back. We're back. We're talking also about going on a trip soon so that we can all meet each other in person, which is really exciting. So
that'll be a lot of fun. So we'll be back next week with a great episode. Who's our guest next week? Sylvia
Oveda Lopez. You'll definitely want to tune in. She is a powerhouse. So we'll be chatting with her next week.
Yeah, I looked at her LinkedIn. She is a boss.
Yeah, she is. I'm really, really excited for that. So
cool. Awesome.
Until then.
Until next week.
Peace.